Flat versus globe, winning criteria, quality of scientifically substantiated evidence for each claim. Since I've been told we missed, or I guess we cut out about 2 minutes in, so I'll skip whatever parts of this I went over, like the
I
scientific
would
method.
just start at the beginning again, man. I apologize.
Okay, that's fine. So what is science? Scientific method, I'll just do this one. Observation, define the problem, form a hypothesis, conduct an experiment, derive a theory, right? And this, of course, has to be replicatable, right? It has to be able to be repeated. An experiment consists of control, independent and dependent variables. These are very constituent parts of these. Falsification, something is not falsifiable, it is not scientific by definition. Something that alleges to be science but does not follow a scientific method is pseudoscientific by definition. Um, Microwaves, the world record right now, 830 miles line of sight. This would negate 80 miles of Earth curve. And they typically penetrate through haze, light rain, snow, clouds, smoke, and are beneficial for SATCOM. Um, they are not affected by things like atmosphere, typically in regards to like refraction, mostly through attenuation, but not typically refraction. They demand line of sight. And then we have the coefficient of K, which we're going to skip over because that'll be a more nuanced conversation we'll have to get into later. There's a lot of math. We also have records that go for up to 4,000 kilometers. Looking for an explanation on how that works over a curved surface. This is more like link planner stuff. Sonar, we map out the ocean bed, assuming sea level is horizontal as a theoretical datum or a reference point, using a 3D Cartesian coordinate system in Euclidean planar trigonometry. This is not curved math. It does not work on a ball. That's the only way we get measurements of the seafloor. And of course, our measurements of the seafloor are very accurate when we assume that the Earth is flat. This is straight from like NOAA with geodesy. Aviation, I'll get into most of that stuff's up here. I don't need to make slides for that stuff. That's pretty much it. I mean, I can concede the rest of my time. I'll stop share.
All right. Guys, I can't do anything about the audio really. I'll turn him up a little more next time he's talking, but that's not anything on my end I can do. Get one ready clip. I'll get your timer going right now, and whenever you're ready.
All right, I'll share my screen. All right, so here, let me pull it over here so it actually looks. I'm looking at the screen here. So yeah, the debate is flat versus globe. The Earth is spherical. We know this for lots of reasons, but the three that I'm sticking with: gravity is provable and exists. Atmospheric retention. The Earth wouldn't have an atmosphere without gravity. And I specifically chose Lower-Wan verification. Because I wanted to be specific with my claims, and it proves that the Earth is spherical by its nature. Now, right off the bat, I just want to concede something. This is my first time in a formal debate, especially on this platform. So you'll hear that I'm poisoning the well, or I'm appealing to authority, or any of these fallacies, whatever they may be. Sure, 100%, I'll grant any fallacy you want. It doesn't change how correct or incorrect my position is. I can get a 0 for debate etiquette. It doesn't matter. So we don't need to throw those around because it doesn't change anything. Moving on to the actual points. Gravity, it's operational and measurable. We have space-time reality. We're going to hear that space-time is just a concept. It's not. That's a philosophical topic someone else could talk about, right? But we're talking about the mathematical framework for space-time that describes how mass behaves. The other issue is flat earthers don't have a cause for the downward vector. They'll say things like density. Makes no sense. Density is only magnitude. It's a scalar quantity, not doesn't have directional, And then the latitude reality. This is an important one that I think a lot of people skip. Gravity will change wherever you are on the sphere. So if you're at the poles, it'll be slightly less than, or slightly more than at the equator, because you're further away at the equator. That's a real big problem for flat earthers. It can't be explained anywhere. Other ways we know this is through things like gravitational lensing. This is the name of the paper on screen. This is from 1919, just about 5 years after Einstein finished his field equations. Proving gravitational lensing. They were looking for it on the eclipse from nearby stars passing near the sun and watching the light be warped. They're looking for exactly deviation of 1.75 arc seconds. They tested this in two locations with 3 telescopes. They got the data for 2 of them at 1.98 arc seconds with plus or minus 1 or 2, or 0.12, excuse me, and then 1.61 plus or minus 0.3 arc seconds, well within Einstein relativity. Now the last one, they were using a celostat, and that warped the telescope. So they had to use a backup 4-inch telescope, and that data is still on this paper there at the bottom one, the 0.93, but it was discarded. And then in 1979, they went back to it and confirmed it with modern technology, how much it warped it, and it was still well within the 1.75 arc second deviation that was expected with general relativity. So point for gravitational lensing. Moving on, another thing, time dilation, which is a big thing in general relativity, which this is a paper, that's the link for it. This is engineers talking about how they have to account for the speed of the satellite with time dilation, although it's not very much. However, the more important thing is gravitational effects for time dilation are about 10,000 times too large to ignore. So they have to account for this, and you have the equation there for it as well. Things fall in a vacuum at a constant rate. This is impossible to deny. You can laugh at it all you want. It doesn't make it any less real. You can claim electrostatics, but that feather and bowling ball have completely different charges and completely amount of different charges. So it makes no sense why they fly. So I'd really like an answer to a downward vector for that, even in a vacuum. This is just space-time because I know I'm going to hear about this. Is space-time a concept? Space-time is a mathematical geometry that describes how the universe behaves. The label space-time is a concept. You can label it whatever you want. I don't care. But the phenomenon it predicts are physical realities. We test those. It's a model that's been proven. Gravitational lensing, time dilation, GPS. It's not a concept. Moving on, atmosphere. This is pretty simple. One slide on this. Any equation for barometric pressure or atmospheric pressure require gravity. You see it in the exponent there. Maybe you can. It's kind of tiny, but it's in the exponent there. And if you make that 0, the whole thing becomes 0. Your atmospheric pressure equals 0, so it should equal out everywhere. That's not what we see. We have a pressure gradient. Super simple. There won't be an answer for that other than Coulomb's law, but that doesn't make any sense either, but I'm sure we'll get into that. This is going to be the rebuttals we hear. They're going to scream about density, won't ever have a cause for it because it's a scalar quantity, doesn't have a vector downwards. They'll say electromagnetism without any proof, and they'll throw whatever fallacy to try and save credibility. And then also what we are now hearing is they won't make a positive claim about what gravity is because everything else has been debunked. So now they just say, well, we don't know. Moving on, Lorwan proves the Earth is spherical. So this is a breakdown of the math of the K factor specifically, which is what I'm focusing on. Gives 2 graphs of K equals infinity, which is just supposed to represent the radius of the Earth. So when K equals infinity, the reason that you get a flat Earth is for simplicity. It's easier to graph linearly than doing spherical calculus on the above graph there. It makes it simple because it's curving at the exact same rate that the Earth is. Makes no sense to keep it that way when you can flat everything out. It makes it super simple, relatively simple, I should say. This is also a nice little article from a gentleman in Akura, Nigeria, talking about how the K factor, you can read it, and that's the name of it and everything. All the citations are there. Talking about how the K factor changes, and it's mostly 4/3, 1.33. Makes no sense on a flat Earth. The mere existence of the K factor means that the Earth isn't flat. If the Earth was flat, the K factor would not be needed at all. The fact that it's rare and is only happens in super refractive conditions means the Earth isn't flat. Simple mathematical trick. That hack, I called it there. That's all it is. It's simplicity for engineering. Engineers have to do a lot and use a lot of computing power. If they can make things simple, they will. That's it.
All right. Thank you guys for your opening statements. We are now going to get into the 60-minute open dialogue. Just be respectful as you can with each other. and you get a lot of questions asked back and forth when you're in good faith. So that's all I ask, and we will start the timer. Whoever wants to open it up, go ahead right now.
If you want to go first.
Yeah, do you just want to skip to Laura Wan?
I mean, we can start with that. Sure.
Yeah. So your claim is that it proves that the Earth is a ball. So your claim is that line of sight microwave propagation proves that the Earth curves.
Well, the Lorwan experiment specifically, while wasn't set out to prove that the Earth is spherical, by its very nature and it existing, proves that the Earth is spherical.
Expand.
The fact that it normally wouldn't be able to do it, they got 3 packets over the course of X amount of time, and it's rare, and it only happened through tropospheric ducting, means that it was bending with the atmosphere, which is around a curved surface, the Earth.
Can you provide evidence of the duct?
Of the duct? Yeah, it's in the mesh network for hold on, I can pull it up if you want. But it's called the Mesh A network. So the LoRaWAN ping that we're talking about, the 831 miles, wasn't a set alone experiment. They weren't setting out to do this. They were setting up a mesh network between boats and buoys, and it was an accidental ping they got. That's why there's not a whole individual paper on it. But yeah, that's what it was.
So can you provide evidence of the duct?
I mean, yeah, we can go to the 831 LoRaWAN experiment. Sorry if my keyboard is clicky. Got a Gamer Girl set up here. Not the 517 one. That one. 830 miles. Sorry, I said 831 miles.
Okay.
Yeah, so. If I can spell. The remarkable point of this record is that it is achieved at sea level, reaching extended distances with LoRaWAN at sea level, eliminates potential variables induced by variable altitudes, providing a standardized and objective measure of the technology's capabilities. We do have to note that this is an exceptional achievement. The majority of things, this is the name of the network, the things stack operated devices range between 25 and 100 meters. The tracker used... That's not what I'm looking for. Where is it? After 3 years, new
No, it's not.
No, I mean, I can read the full paper, but
I read it. I actually have like a lot of that memorized.
Well, I mean, I don't care for memorization. I can go to the actual paper and we can look over the actual mesh network, but we know that it's the case of tropospheric ducting. One, because it had to have some sort of gain to get there, because it wasn't powerful enough to get there on its own. And two, you'll say no, but we know the Earth curves and it blocks it. So it had to have some sort of way to get there, because
So
it was to an island, to a volcanic island that it pinged to, not a buoy in the water. And it was off the ship.
That's circular reasoning. So you can't provide evidence of the duct.
Like I said, I'd have to go through the entire mesh paper. I didn't look for specifically the duct. Even on your model, you would have to claim there's some sort of gain there. So I didn't think it's necessary to specifically quote that. Because if you're claiming there's not a tropospheric duct, then why did they only receive 3 packets over the course of like 8-ish hours, it seemed like? Over the course of an experiment that lasted days to weeks, by the way. This happened on one of the days.
Yeah, let's break this down logically, right? Your claim is that it bent around the ball, right? 830 miles. And it was more likely to get 3 pings doing that than it would have if it traveled line of sight, which is what microwaves do according to the physics of light.
Yeah, I mean that is line. It saw it, right? Because it's in a duct. It's in a wavefront guide, like a natural wavefront guide. So it would see the receiver.
Am I led to believe that this tropospheric duct is unfalsifiable then?
What do you mean?
Like, how do I falsify it?
What do you mean? It's a natural occurring thing. How do you falsify a tornado?
You would discover that there's not one there. So how do you...
If there's a tornado, how are you going to discover one isn't there?
I mean, that's kind of like a false equivalency, but like, can you answer the question? How is it falsifiable, this duct?
You can't falsify a naturally occurring thing that's there. I don't know what you want.
Okay, how do we verify that it's there? If it's naturally and it's there, and you can't provide evidence that it's there.
Well, no, you can provide evidence that it's there. You ask for falsifiability of it. You can do this. The Navy did this. That's the same exact. This is the same exact spiel you did with McToon. The Navy did this. They mapped out all of the tropospheric ducts in that area, and there's one right over where they were pinged.
Evidence of this?
Do you want me to pull up McToon's thing again? I mean, I could just go to your debate and do that and pull up the exact slide that he showed you where they mapped out all the ducts. Are you saying tropospheric ducts don't exist?
I'm asking for the duct that you claim exists in this particular
Over, I
experiment.
mean, map of here. Can I share my screen again, or is that?
Mhm.
I want a simple map.
Yeah, man, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I just want a simple map here. I don't need and I need one off the coast of Africa here.
It was to the Canary Islands.
Yeah, it's right off the coast of Spain. No, I don't need the US. While I'm looking for this, what other questions do you have, or what other statements do you have?
Evidence of your claim. Because my claim is
What
that
claim?
it traveled line of sight, which means that it just traveled line of sight.
Yeah, there's no way
Wait, I
that's
do want to.
possible.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
fine.
20.
I do want to iterate though that you said that this you read in the thingsnetwork.com, you read that this was performed at sea level.
Yeah. The the
We find
the
ducks at
signal
higher
was sent
elevations. We
the
find ducks
signal
at
was
higher.
sent at sea level.
Yeah, typically we find ducks at like 5,000, 8,000 feet up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Is that at sea level?
No, but that's not what that means.
Let me know whenever
But
you're ready
anyways, I
to
want to
share if we're gonna do that still.
yeah, I'm just trying to find the, hold on, if I play a video, will it play audio through here? I actually don't know.
I think there is a setting that you have to turn on for that. I don't.
It's fine.
Somebody was, yeah, somebody was telling me that if I were to play a video, it would give trouble, but I don't.
It's fine. But to address your point that it would travel line of sight, completely impossible. It had to have some sort of gain to get there because it wasn't strong enough to do it by itself. So what is the gain to get it there?
I believe it is a friend of mine showed me something, and I actually have to kind of plead the fifth on this as well. But you do have gain when it travels in through like a marine layer, yeah. But I can't source that, so I won't actually make the claim with specificity. But a
Okay,
friend of mine
so
did show me something like that. But
okay,
it's see,
so
this
how
is
did it
like
get that gain?
yeah, see, like this is called shifting the burden of proof, right?
No, I'm
Like
I'm
you're
looking for your evidence. I'm just getting to the part where he shows the map.
okay. Well, then we'll wait for your evidence, and then you can shift burden of proof.
There's no shifting of burden of proof. You made a claim that it did line of sight. I'm questioning
Mhm.
your line of sight.
Yeah,
Like, you're
the physics
questioning
of
me, but
light.
I'm actively looking up the data for it?
The physics of light.
Okay, but why did they only receive 3 packets, and also the signal isn't strong enough to travel the 830 miles, so how did it do that?
Based on what?
Based what do you mean based on what? Based on
Ba- Based on how? Yeah,
it
what are you
25
basing
watt
off of that?
it's a 25-watt transmitter, doesn't have enough power to get there.
Based on?
Math?
No, no, no.
Physics?
Like big words, bro. You can do it.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you mean based on what?
I think the words you're looking for is attenuation.
No, it's just yeah, the signal is too weak over there. Correct.
But that's what attenuation is, brother.
Yeah. So then what is the gain that made it go that far?
Just find your evidence of your duct, please.
Why why won't you
Why won't
answer
you
a
find evidence
technical
of your duct? I'm not doing that with you.
No, I am. I'm just
Okay.
hold on. Here it is. I'm gonna use
Yeah, there we go.
McToon's that already
Oh,
debunked it with you, because he
great
had
source.
the full map. Well, no, he brought up a source for it.
Uh,
But, while I'm doing this, you could be bringing up your whole source for it too,
it was in the form of a text message. I'll see if I can find it.
with data, I hope, not just texts.
I'll see if I can find it. Hold on.
Is
I bet I
this
find it faster.
I mean, if it's text messages, yeah, I'm skimming through a video.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I'm so sorry, my keyboard's clicky. Um, where I wonder if someone in chat, do we know a timestamp for when he showed that map? Oh, never mind, I just saw it.
Well, while they're looking at that, guys, I just want to remind everybody in the chat, if you could like the video. I messed up the algorithmic flow with the stream ending, so that would help out a lot. And then if you are not a member of the channel, highly recommend it. We're going to stream all the debates from DebateCon 8 live on the channel, so you guys will definitely be able to see all those as they're happening. I believe including the pregame one with Jay Dyer and Jake Brancatella, or Jay Dyer and the other gentleman. His name is escaping me at the moment, but we got him for a pregame, which is going to be the day before DebateCon 8 starts, the 25th. So you guys still have 50 minutes, 50. And I paused it for a brief moment while I did that little advert. I'm not sure if this is streaming currently on Rumble. If someone could let me know, that'd be awesome. I'll go and double check here in a second. But
all right, yeah, here I'll share my screen of.
Looks like we're back. I'm gonna start the clock back up here.
All right. Yeah, so this is actually from your debate where he's showing this is also on Modern Day Debates, where he's showing the active ducks for you and the historical data for them.
Okay. You also have ducts over I did find it. Evaporation ducts, because water is in a constant state of evaporation. So
Yeah.
that could also increase the signal. So
do you want to show proof for that? That there's an evaporation duct there?
I don't know
No,
how
that there was an
on there, bro.
evaporation duct there?
Oh, you asked me how it would gain, and that's how yeah. But your claim is antithetical to physics, right? My claim's not antithetical. Yeah, it is though. It's antithetical to physics, meaning that I read from I forget where that source is. I can find it for you, but I've read that I'll find it actually. I'll find the and I'll just read it off my screen. I don't need to share it unless you want me to.
You should. I mean, yeah, if you're gonna cite a source, yeah, you should share it.
Give me one second.
There are radar maps from the Navy too. Yeah, I apologize for the click-clack keyboard. I got a gamer girl keyboard.
Oh, so. Yeah, this is from NASA. Yeah. Hold on. How do I get back into the Zoom? There we go. All right, yeah, I'll share.
Okay.
So from NASA, this is the box is covering up part of this. Microwaves penetrate light rain, snow.
1 second. It's there. It goes. There we
go. Okay. They penetrate light haze, light rain, snow, clouds, and smoke. They demand line of sight. This is the physics of light, bro.
What is this proving about your evaporation duct over that stretch?
This proves that the physics of light travels in a straight line. Did you not understand that?
No one's arguing with that.
So your claim is that a straight line curve, which is antithetical to reality. I need evidence that straight lines curve, brother.
Oh yeah, no problem. So here I've got man, do I have a ball near me? I really don't have a ball near me, but yeah, straight lines can absolutely curve, especially on 3D surfaces. If you draw a line, even like take a hill, for example, if you were to draw a line straight up it and you were to look at it straight on, it would look two-dimensional. It would look straight. But then if you looked at the side of the hill and you were able to see that line, it would be curved over the hill. That's a straight curved line. That's what happens on three-dimensional planes.
So your claim needs to be satisfied. Like, I don't have burden of proof anymore because the physics
you want me to
of, like,
show you that curved lines?
Please stop interrupting me. Like, so the physics of light demands that light travel in a straight line, in a line of sight path. Okay, that's how it would organically behave. Your claim is antithetical to that. Your claim is that it gets caught in a level of the atmosphere that may or may not even be there, and it just gets caught there, and then it just magically knows when to leave said layer of atmosphere to interact with a buoy in the ocean. That demands burden of proof, brother.
Wasn't a buoy in the ocean. It was a receiver on a volcanic island. I forget the name of the island.
Did you click on the images? Did you look at the images from
the
website?
The images is just showing the full project. That buoy is part of the mesh network that they were setting up to help fishermen on long expeditions into the middle of the ocean. It's just an image with one paragraph underneath it. But straight lines absolutely can curve. I don't know how you say they can't. Like take that lampshade right behind you. It looks straight to us on the video, but in reality, it's curved. It's both. That happens in spherical 3D
that's not what I'm asking.
reality.
I'm asking you to demonstrate that the physics of light can change and defy the physics of light to provide evidence of your claim.
What is violating the physics of light?
Line of sight propagation of electromagnetic radiation, brother.
Yeah, it's going over, it's following the curve of the atmosphere, which is on the Earth, which curves
Which
with the
defies
Earth.
physics
How does that defy physics?
because it's not going to bend that way naturally.
Well, I won't. It
And
hits
if it
the
were to,
bottom layer of the troposphere and then the top layer, and it bounces in a zigzag like this all the way down because it's trapped in there.
evidence of that,
Of
please.
tropospheric ducting?
No, evidence
Yeah.
that it gets caught. No. I want you to physically show me that it gets caught in a high temperature here, low temperature here, and gets caught there and ping pongs around. And I want you to show me that in reality.
So you want me to show you how tropospheric ducting works? Got it.
I want you to demonstrate it in reality.
What do you mean demonstrate in reality? We do this all the time with all sorts of things. What
It's
are you talking about?
unfalsifiable.
What this is scraping the bottom of the barrel. You want me right now to show you tropospheric ducting right now in my second bedroom.
I want you to show me evidence of your claim. Yes.
Okay, so you just want me to show you tropospheric ducting happens. Like, is a paper
I
good
don't know.
enough?
You had a week to prepare for this, bro. I didn't prepare
Well,
for this at all.
yeah, you're asking me to do something, and I'm asking you what is good enough for you? Is it someone else's data? Do you want me to do it right now? Like,
I want you to demonstrate that light can behave that way.
okay,
Over
okay.
the span
I
of
will show you.
830 minutes.
I won't even go to Google. I'll go to Google Scholar of tropospheric ducting.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to share my screen again there.
Go ahead.
Mike, was it?
Yep.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, your name says James, so.
It's company Zoom.
Yeah. Here we go. Can we see this? Can we see tropospheric ducting here? How, I don't know if, can we see this image? I don't know how big it is on screen. But you see that bottom one, how it's curving? This is a whole, this is literally just the first paper I clicked on, by the way. This is a whole review of tropospheric ducting. Like, we could read the paper if you want. We could go through the whole paper.
Your evidence is a cartoon?
No, it's a published scientific paper on Google Scholar, published by, who is this published by?
Is that a real picture?
Is this a real picture? No. This is a diagram.
So your evidence is a cartoon?
No, my evidence is a scientific published paper that's peer reviewed. That's why it's on Google Scholar. A diagram, yeah. That's how, I mean, I guess. If you want to call a diagram a cartoon, sure.
Okay. If I draw a cartoon of Bigfoot, is it real?
No. What's your evidence for it, though?
I don't have evidence of Bigfoot.
Oh, well, then, yeah, the cartoon's
So you
ridiculous.
don't have evidence of your claim? You just shot yourself in the foot. Come on, man.
Right here, the scientific paper is the backing up, is the evidence. What's wrong with this scientific paper? What is wrong with it?
I haven't read it. I'm not claiming that it's authentic. You have burden of proof.
Yeah, and I gave you proof. And what's wrong with it? Now I'm asking you, what's wrong with my proof?
When did you provide evidence of a tropospheric duct?
Right here. Where? Just now in front of you. Right.
This is a
tropospheric ducting, a comprehensive review and machine learning based classification advancements.
Okay, I think you got to tap out, bro. You got to tap out.
So what's wrong with this proof?
No, I'm letting you tap out. I'm letting you tap out.
This proof?
I'm letting you tap out.
Okay, so what's wrong with this proof?
It's your burden.
Yeah, I've supplied here. I'll like try and illustrate what's going on here. You've said show me proof, and I said okay, here's some proof that I consider good enough. You're saying it's not. Now I'm asking you, what's not good about it? What's not good enough about it?
I got you, bro.
All right, I stopped sharing your screen clip.
Oh, was I still sharing? I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Here, I drew Bigfoot.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So proof Bigfoot's not real.
Yeah, do you want me to tell you why that proof for Bigfoot isn't good enough, and then you tell me why this proof isn't good enough? Should we do? I think that's fair.
Because yours defies physics.
Okay, how is this defying physics?
Light travels in a straight path.
Straight can be curved on 3 dimensions. We know that.
I gotta let you tap out, bro. I gotta let you tap out.
Are you waving the white flag?
If you want to call it that, I feel like you got eviscerated.
You want to move on to something else?
We could. You can make a claim.
I mean, it's up to you. You're just denying a paper in front of you.
Let's rewind though. at what, because our claims are similar, right? Like my claim is microwaves prove that the Earth's not curving because it agrees with the physics of light. Your claim is that it proves that the Earth actually does curve. When did you prove that it was curving?
By it being trapped in tropospheric ducting, it's following a curved path, which the atmosphere is a part of the Earth, which is curved.
Okay, that you couldn't provide evidence of.
I did. I showed you what McToon already showed you, the historical data for the tropospheric duct there. I showed you a paper that tropospheric ducting does happen, and I asked you what's wrong with that paper, and you drew a picture of Bigfoot. Who won? So,
okay, Dunning-Kruger. I got you, bro. Go ahead. You pick the next one.
Dunning-Kruger. I mean, yeah, two of mine are related to gravity. So if you just want to handle gravity first, then we could go to atmosphere. We could do it backwards, whatever.
Yeah, we
I
got
mean, you can start with atmosphere.
40
Atmosphere is more fun.
40
Sorry,
minutes
Jim,
on the clock. All good. I'm just letting you know how much time we got left, so we could spend about 10, 15 on this one, and then maybe work into other topics if you guys can.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna. Is it okay if I share my screen real quick?
Go ahead.
Just so the presentation again. So this is the equation for barometric pressure. What are you? This will calculate pressure, by the way. Wherever you're at, you can plug this formula in with all the proper data. You'll get the right pressure. How are you? What are you replacing gravity with?
I wouldn't make a claim.
So you just have nothing.
But
so we can prove a pressure.
Calm down. Do you understand that that's just a 9.81
on
average downward acceleration rate?
Yeah.
How do we know that gravity is the cause?
Because we observe it.
How do you know that gravity is the cause?
We observe it and we can isolate for it.
You observe gravity being the cause? That's the effect.
No, gravity is what causes the downward vector.
Brother, 9.81 is the effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, if you want to be super technical, colloquially we would say gravity, but it's the stress energy tensor that causes gravity, which causes the downward vector. So what's your rebuttal to stress energy tensors?
I would ask you how that's falsifiable.
Yeah, you can falsify it by you can isolate it for electromagnetism. You can do it in a vacuum chamber. You can also do things like Cavendish experiment. You can prove gravity through LIGO. You can
whoa. You're trying to
laser interferometers.
So slow down. You're trying to prove space-time with Cavendish?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I knew you were one of those, bro. Why are you doing this to yourself? That's two entirely different dynamic theories. What are you doing?
Nope.
Okay, what was Newton's time variable?
Has nothing to do with the Cavendish, but okay.
What was his time variable?
Has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Do you know the answer?
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I want you to address what you're replacing gravity with.
I already told you I'm not going to make a claim. So what was Newton's time variable?
You're immediately waving the white flag on this, that you guys have nothing to explain pressure when we can.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Falsification's independent of replacement, and your misunderstanding of agreed upon physics does not give you like an out here, bro.
It's not a misunderstanding.
You're conflating Newtonian dynamics with relativistic. It's a major problem.
Would you like me to explain the correlation between them? I did a whole video on it.
I don't want to see a whole video. You're in a debate right now. Stay here. So
yeah, I didn't say I was doing a video.
What was Newton's time variable? What was it?
Has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Just say you don't know, brother.
Sure, I don't know. Explain it to us.
You didn't have one.
Okay.
Why don't we use F equals ma on a cosmological scale?
Because things get crazy, but it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I want you to address what we're talking about.
Yeah, you're not understanding. I'm not making that claim. You are.
Yeah, but the issue, Soli, is I am making a claim. We can verify atmospheric pressure flawlessly, perfectly, with gravity.
With a downward acceleration rate that is an effect, not cause.
Okay, we call that gravity. You guys have nothing for it.
Dude, you can call it
bubble gum. If we know what that is, and it's causing, and we can measure it, and we can measure the physical the physical phenomenon that it causes, we can prove it. What are you guys replacing it with?
I'm not. Okay, but don't interrupt me. Seatbelts on, bro. You're conflating Newtonian dynamics with relativistic. You can't do that. They directly don't interrupt me. They directly oppose one another. Newton believed in an ether. Einstein allegedly disproved an ether. Newton didn't have a time variable. Einstein did. F equals ma does not work on a cosmological scale. It didn't explain things like perihelion shift of Mercury. So you cannot use Cavendish to prove cause, which is really you're just proving the effect of gravity. You have no established proof of cause at
I told
all.
you what the cause was. Stress energy tensor is our cause for gravity. However,
That is
I
a
want you to
mathematical formula.
a tensor is not a mathematical formula. Do you know what a tensor is?
Explain it.
A tensor takes scalar, so it has three scalings of tensors. So it takes you can have scalar tensors, vector tensors, and then both. And it'll take all of those inputs to get you outputs for that. So
Oh, so it's
when
like
mass is expecting space time, it has inputs for all those in a very complex way, and then we'll get outputs for those in
so
very
it's
complex
calculus.
ways.
So it's calculus.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh, so it is math.
Yes.
Okay, so
You know what math
it
is.
doesn't prove
However, I want
cause.
to address the Newtonian thing that you keep bringing up. They are not in direct conflict. This is what I always say to people who
Tell
don't
me
know the
more.
difference. Yeah. This is what I always say. So gravity is the bending and warping of space-time. However, on a small scale, it happens to propagate itself in our observation of mass attracting mass. He didn't know Newton, by the way, knew there was issues with Mercury. He also knew that there was issues with gravity acting instantaneously across infinite speeds. And he famously said in his Principia that hypotheses non fingo. Do you know what that means?
We went over this last time. Continue.
Yeah, it means I feign no hypotheses because he
Yeah.
knew that there were issues with his gravity. He knew
Yeah.
that this can't be the final answer, just
So
like
when you're
Einstein knew general relativity can't be the final answer. They
okay,
aren't in direct conflict. They're expansions upon Newton. Einstein is expansion upon Newtonian physics.
would you classify Cavendish as a relativistic experiment or a Newtonian?
Well, he did it only knowing Newton. Einstein
Oh,
didn't exist yet. Yeah.
so you're using it to defend relativity. Do you
Hmm.
see the problem?
Nope. Because he
Okay.
thought at the time it was mass attracting mass. Just because he thought something doesn't make it what is actually happening in reality. He
So do
thought
you
he thought it was mass attracting mass. Turns out that's not the cause for it.
okay, how do you provide evidence of established cause? Let's let that go for now.
Stress energy tensor. We can do this through things like gravitational
So
lensing
calculus.
gravitational lensing and time dilation. We know the bending and warping of
Yeah,
space-time is physically
your
affected by those two things.
your evidence was that we see stars through the sun, and there's a logical
Not through the
explanation for
sun.
it around. You think that you claim that the light's bending around. Yeah, okay, cool. So
Yes.
your evidence is that, but it could just be that the sun is translucent and we see through it, right?
Nope, because
That's
I'm
not
glad you brought
possible.
this up. No, because they went back 30 days later, I believe. The
Okay.
same people went back and they took a picture of just the night sky to get the static location of those stars, and they were in the same exact position from the gravitational lensing. So if the sun was translucent, we would have seen straight through it, not bent around it. And also, they would have been crepuscular. The deflection, the diffraction of them, the arc seconds. Do you know what an arc second is? It's very, very, very tiny. If the
I'm
sun was
aware. That's
translucent
why,
and
yeah,
it gave
that's
some
why this
sort of
is
like focal distortion, the stars would have been crepuscular, like it would have been around the sun.
that's why this is fragile because I wrote it down. What is it? 1.98? Did I get that right? I was writing it
For
down while
what?
you were 1.9 arc second, 1.98 arc second. Or was it
There
1.3?
was
I wrote
two.
both
There
down.
was a total of three. One was thrown out because the equipment was damaged. There was three. One was 1.98 plus or minus 0.12, and then there was
Okay.
0.16 or 1.68 plus or minus 0.3.
Okay. So that's very fragile.
What's fragile about that? That's well within the statistical range for relativity.
Okay, so you have a mathematical concept that you can use to predict things. How does that establish cause?
It's not a concept, it's a model. So Einstein had this model, and then we went out, and the model made predictions on what we should see for things. And then these two went
Yeah.
out and they tested that model with the predictions that it said we should see. And guess what? We saw those predictions,
Okay. Yeah,
verifying part of the model.
cool. The math works, right? It
Mhm.
doesn't establish cause.
The cause is mass on space-time, how mass warps the
That's
mathematical
that's what
geometry of
you're supposed
space-time.
to be. That's what you're supposed to be supplying evidence of. Saying it doesn't make it real, brother. I could say the math
Yes.
demonstrates fairies moving stars around and making them bend around the sun too. the sun too. That doesn't prove it.
Where's your
right?
mathematical model for that?
I could just use yours
No, you
because
can't.
yours, and like yours,
Ours has big G in it.
that's still Newtonian. Congratulations. Now you're conflating that
Yeah.
again. Oh my God. It doesn't
Newton
prove
established
cause.
the universal gravitation. Yes.
It
Yes, it
doesn't
does.
prove.
It proves that massive things, massive as in like the actual term, not the colloquial here, that things with a lot of mass are literally bending space-time because light, which doesn't have mass, is bending around it at 1.75 arc seconds. Do you know why that's important and why it's not 0.87 Newtonian? Do you know why?
Because Newtonian doesn't explain things on a cosmological scale, like I
No,
said.
it's because if light was only affected by Newtonian gravity, if Newton
It
was
would
right
need
about
mass.
gravity,
It would need mass.
no, it would be that space is only being bent by its time direction on like x0, x1, x2, x3. It'd only be bending on space or on time, sorry. But with relativity, light is traveling across a bent and warped space-time, both, so it doubles.
Time makes up one part of the
Yeah.
fourth dimensional fabric. So I think you
Yeah.
probably just misspoke, but
Nope.
I think you confused it because it's 3 parts space, 1 part time. You said 3
Yep.
parts. You said on 1 part of time.
Yeah. Time is one dimension.
Okay. I'm just gonna move on past that then. Yeah, you can't prove cause. That's what
What
this
if,
boils down
what
to.
else is causing the light to bend?
Shifting the burden of proof.
No, it's not. Yours, I say, here's proof. Mass is bending this light. We predicted it, we modeled it, we tested it rigorously. This was 4 or 5 years after Einstein, it was 1919, so that's 4 years after he finished his field equations. We went out and tested it. The predictions were true for gravitational lensing. So there is the proof. You're saying that's not proof. So then how is it not?
That's a mathematical prediction through calculus. That
And it
doesn't
came
stop
true.
interrupting. Bro, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
I'm letting
Yeah.
you finish.
Yeah, don't interrupt each other, guys. We're doing great here
Okay,
so
fair
far.
enough.
All right. So that's a mathematical prediction or a model through calculus. That does not prove that there is a fourth dimensional fabric with physical properties made entirely of space and time. Space is a privation and time does not physically exist or have physical properties. So for you to insist that these two things merge and then become one thing with physical properties is not only a claim, that's an extraordinary claim that demands burden of proof. And you cannot satisfy it. That's why you have to shift burden of proof over to me, which I'm not letting you do. I need evidence of this. Thank
Okay,
you,
yeah,
sir.
I'll share my screen again.
Thank you.
Um, I already went over this. So this is proof of time dilation on satellites. That's the equation for it. Do you know what the triangle and the little F mean there?
No,
It tells
I
you
would
right there.
imagine F is, I don't know. Actually, I'm not going to make a guess.
Yeah, it tells you right there. It's the rate of change of the frequency of the clocks on the satellites.
Oh,
And then
did they
yeah.
account for the depressurization of the atmosphere?
Why would it need to do that for time dilation?
Because different clocks function differently in different atmospheres. Like they function differently in a vacuum than they do out here in the pressurized atmosphere that we breathe from.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
I'm just going to repeat it then. Clocks function differently in a vacuum than they do in a pressurized medium. Clocks function differently underwater than they do in a
That what is
pressurized
asserted
medium.
without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
I'll be right back.
So gravitational effects on satellites in this paper, it's the last sentence right where my mouse is. I don't know if you can see that, are 10,000 times too large to ignore. We
Great.
have proof, and satellites have to account for gravitational time dilation. So we have proof of time physically being warped.
You don't, though. You have a
Okay, so then
mathematical solution.
why are they accounting for time dilation? Otherwise, it becomes off.
I was actually giving you an explanation for that, and then you called it BS, and you invoked Hitchens' razor as like this gotcha. And I promise you that was not probably the best idea for you, brother. In a vacuum. Whoops, I'm sorry, I forgot to type the word differently, and I will have to share my screen.
Oh yeah, you can. I can.
Go ahead.
I'm not quite ready. Okay. Let me pull the Zoom meeting back up. Now, this is just AI overview, but I wasn't prepared for this, so give me a break here. Clocks function
I'm not
differently
going
in
to give you a
vacuum.
break. My source is a scientific published paper, peer reviewed.
Okay, well then I'll go to a source that the AI overview takes things from sources and gives you like a synopsis of what it's reading based off of the sources that it took the information from. And please stop interrupting me. Clocks function
But
differently in a vacuum, primarily because the absence of air removes atmospheric resistance.
yeah, so I don't.
Do I need to source that? Do I need to source that, or does that just make sense?
No, because many high precision. Hold on, move your mouse. Move
My
your
bad.
mouse real quick. Many high precision atomic clocks, which keep time by measuring the resonant frequency of
Actually
cesium
require a
123,
vacuum to
actually
function.
require a vacuum to function. Do
Yeah,
you know what kind of clocks they use for these satellites?
yeah. They use the atomic clocks, which function differently than the ones down here on Earth.
Whoa! It's
That was the
almost like they
entirety, dude.
use an atomic clock that requires a vacuum.
Are you actually thinking that you didn't just shit your own pants?
I didn't,
Okay, I'm just making sure, bro,
because they
because you definitely
used
did.
atomic clocks.
I don't deny that, but they function differently in different atmospheres.
It requires a
Would an
vacuum.
atomic clock work in an atmosphere that's pressurized?
No, because it's not in one. It requires a vacuum to work. An
Thank you. That
atomic
was my
clock requires
wait.
a
That was my
vacuum.
claim that you disagreed with 60 seconds ago before
No,
I
it
googled
wasn't.
it,
You said clocks work differently in
bro.
pressurized systems
You're
versus unpressurized system. If you
your
would have said
name.
atomic clocks, sure, they require a vacuum to work. So atomic clocks that we
You
use
didn't
here on
even know
Earth,
that until I looked it up.
it's,
And
atomic clocks
you're
here on Earth are in a vacuum. That's the only way they can
great.
work.
We need evidence that there's a vacuum up there, firstly. So slow down. Don't overtalk me. Your name supersedes you. I do want to say that. You are definitely getting clipped, bro. This is bad for you.
You still need your
Yes,
screen share,
clocks.
Soli?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All
Yes,
good. I'll
clocks
close it.
function. I got it. Clocks function differently in different atmospheres. That was my claim. So which you said, nuh-uh. And then I Googled it, and now you're saying that that was your claim all along, right?
No, you said clocks work differently in pressurized and unpressurized systems. Atomic clocks don't, because they don't work at all in pressurized systems.
Okay. So clocks work differently in different systems of atmosphere, right?
No, you're trying to generalize like mechanical clocks, which have like acoustic noise and stuff that will have a baseline for margin of error, like 1 sigma, 2 sigma and stuff. Atomic clocks require a vacuum, which is, by the way, how time dilation works for satellites. It's actually in the
How
paper
do
I
you have a
showed. It's only
vacuum
like
next?
45 milliseconds, I think.
How do you have a vacuum next to a pressurized system?
Gravity. We
Okay.
went over
So
that, and you said you'd make no claim on that. So why are you going back to it?
so beg the question.
It's not begging the
No,
question.
your claim is that the atmosphere proves that gravity is real.
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
make that claim. This isn't.
That's not my
What
claim.
was your claim? Atmosphere
Uh,
proves the Earth is a ball or something?
no, the Earth wouldn't have an atmosphere without gravity.
Oh, so okay. Well, it's semantics then, I guess.
Not
So
semantics at all.
I have a demonstration for you. I don't know about playing a video on here. I know that like it might work. I'll
Yeah,
try.
it should work. How long is it?
Like 5 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Share screen. It's probably I'm exaggerating. It's not 5 seconds. It's probably like 15 or something. But I can skip to like the important part. Once I hit play.
Cool. You guys are patient with me when I messed up the stream, so I'll allow it.
Yeah, 22 seconds. So we have a pressurized atmosphere down here and a vacuum up here. Now, based on what we understand about the second law of thermodynamics and the fact that high pressure always seeks low pressure, what do you think is going to happen when he turns this valve?
Oh, that whatever is in there is going to go up.
Okay, you're correct. Then I will stop sharing my screen. So now you have to explain why gravity gets to supersede natural law.
No natural law being superseded. There's I'll explain it in as simple terms as possible. Atmosphere real big, lots of mass. That little tube, very small, little mass.
How big is the vacuum of space?
What do you mean, how big is the vacuum of space?
Atmosphere very big, vacuum of space very bigger. There you go.
Oh, you're trying to refer to 10 to the negative 17 torr.
Like actual size, brother. Very
Oh,
bigger.
infinite.
Oh,
Yeah.
so why doesn't it seek equilibrium then?
Because we have gravity pulling things down. There's a downward bias.
So gravity does get to supersede natural law.
Not at all. What's it superseding?
The second law of thermodynamics.
How is it doing that? It's affecting. That little flask that you just showed.
Why didn't gravity keep the atmosphere in the small little ball then?
Because it's made of one component of gas. I don't know what that was, probably mercury or something. I don't know. So one component of gas. So you're not going to have a pressure gradient. So the gravity is going to act upon that whole ball that you have at the bottom, all the same. So whatever force is being applied, I don't know what gas is in there for its atomic weight, right? Is going to be different versus if you have like hydrogen, helium, lithium, and all the other sorts of gases, the nitrogen and whatnot. Those all weigh differently, so they're going to be stacked on top of each other to pull gravity or to pull the atmosphere down. That experiment doesn't provide all those mix of gases to have a pressure gradient. However, even if all those gases were in there, it's not to scale. And you can't account for the scale factor of gravity because gravity is consistent.
Okay, so how does gravity get to supersede natural law exactly?
What is it superseding? I just explained to you how it's not.
The second law of thermodynamics.
It's not superseding the second law of thermodynamics at all.
What's the second law of thermodynamics?
I don't need to. You're the one quoting it. I don't need to define anything.
Okay, so how do you know that it's not superseding the second law of thermodynamics if you don't know what the second law is?
Didn't say I didn't know what it was.
You've done this like 4 times now.
Yeah, because I don't let you, because what you do in these is you just throw out these quizzes to try and get someone to not know something. And then you say, oh, look, they're so stupid. I won. And I don't care to play that game. So if you're going to quote something, you can define it. I don't need to do your work for you. If you're going to quote something, you can define it.
Okay, so that was a straw man. That's not at all what I'm doing.
Cool.
The problem is that, don't interrupt me. The problem is that I invoked the second law and I said that it's superseded by your fictitious gravity, right? And you said, no, it's not. So in order for you to claim that it's not superseded by gravity, it would make sense that you know what it is and you wouldn't have to shift it back over to me if I asked you. But for the sake of argument, it's that the entropy of a system increases over time, order to chaos, right? High pressure to low pressure. So high pressure would always go to low pressure. The high pressure that we breathe from down here would mediate with the infinite, your own words, vacuum of space. Instantaneously and violently, we would not be able to breathe. Our eyes would be sucked out of our heads. It is just not deniable, brother. This happens with soda cans, tires, balloons, helium tanks, oxygen tanks, you name it, this happens. Now, your claim is that the atmosphere is the exception to the rule, making it an anomaly in science. That is an extraordinary claim. You have burden of proof.
No, so I'm going to throw it back on you where you said, I'm saying gravity does something, and you're saying, nah, it violates the second law of thermodynamics. Therefore, you're the one that brought it up. You need to define it if you're going to claim it's throwing or violating something. But also, you guys always miss a super important word in the second law of thermodynamics. It's an isolated system. Yeah, you left that out on purpose.
My claim is that the Earth isn't an isolated system. Your claim is that it is not.
It's not an isolated system. And it depends on like where you're looking at it. Like a bird nest could be an isolated system. It depends on where you're drawing the reference frame. Like the universe could be considered isolated. Therefore, like the second law is funky. But it depends what you're drawing as an isolated system.
So your argument is semantics?
I mean, no, but the second law of thermodynamics depends on your reference frame.
Okay, so your argument is semantics. And
no, my argument is that gravity is causing the atmosphere to stick because things have mass. Anything with mass is affected by gravity. We can measure it, we can prove it, and you admittedly said you have no claim for why this is happening.
I said, yeah, when I said I'm not going to make a claim, that's fine. It's better than making a claim and not being able to satisfy burden of proof, right? Like that's probably the intellectually honest position to take. However, does gravity get weaker as you ascend in elevation?
The further away you get from the center of the Earth, from anything with mass, but yeah.
Okay, so then I'm expected to believe, right, that the atmosphere not only gets less dense as you go up, but gravity gets weaker, and at some point it just decides to stop and become a vacuum.
No. That's not how gravity works. Gravity, there's no hard line when gravity stops because it's a fabric, right? If something is bowing that fabric, it's not necessarily bowing because we only have 3 dimensions. But if that fabric, for the sake of an analogy, is bowing, it's going to have ripples for a long, long time. And there won't ever be a hard cutoff. Like if I dropped the bowling ball in the middle of the fabric, like where does the curve exactly stop? Like that's not how gravity works.
That would be measurable. Yeah, if you dropped a bowling ball in a trampoline, you'd be
Yeah,
able to
yeah, but
measure that.
where exactly does it stop? Does it stop exactly like
When
when the curve starts to do like this motion? Because here we'll still have an effect. So will out here because this will be taut, while
Oh
this
my
is
God.
taut too because it's being pulled. So like where does the effect
So
officially stop is like
so
nuanced.
gravity gets to supersede natural law.
Nope, you're just saying that.
Okay.
It doesn't supersede natural law
Well,
at
it's your
all.
claim. You just
Gravity,
aren't familiar with your religion enough to know that. I'm sorry.
nope, gravity affects everything with mass. Gas has mass.
You have yet to prove that.
So, no, I haven't.
You
Cavendish
actually
experiment,
no. You
gravitational
actually
lensing, time dilation, the fact that we have an atmosphere with a pressure gradient, all of it proves.
How do you have gas pressure without a container? Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah, gravity is the container.
Can you give me an example of gravity containing gas without begging the question and assuming the Earth's atmosphere is your evidence?
No, the atmosphere is the example. Why can't I use that example?
That's a begging the question fallacy.
How? Can
It's
you
your
give me an example of the flat Earth without using the flat Earth? Makes no sense.
okay.
The
That's
example
no,
is the atmosphere.
don't do that. So let me. You asked me a question, right? A begging the question fallacy is when you presume
I
the
told you I'll give
conclusion.
you all the fallacies. I don't care.
You don't have to interrupt me to say that, but for the sake of the audience, right? Because there's people that might actually believe your mumbo jumbo, right? So the begging the question fallacy is when you pre-incorporate your conclusion within the foundation of your argument. So you are saying that the atmosphere without a container is proof that the atmosphere exists without a container. No, you need to demonstrate that that gravity can behave that way on gases on a small scale. That is scientific. Remember, the winning criteria of this debate is quality of scientifically substantiated claims respectfully. Right now, I don't think you're winning, bro.
Okay. I'm glad you said quality of scientific evidence because you brought up Google AI. All of my sources have been scientific papers, peer reviewed and published. And
You
then
agreed with Google
also,
AI when I brought it up.
no, I didn't agree with your claim. But also, no, we can measure the atmosphere using gravity. Gravity has to be in the equation for
You use
Bernoulli's principle,
9.81. That's the
barometric pressure. Yeah, we call that gravity. That has to be in there to be accounted for. And that
I mean,
number is consistent across all mathematical predictions for what gravity is and is
oh,
consistent across
whoa,
all
whoa.
other relativistic
In
things.
your own opener, you said that it fluctuates, so don't do that.
Yeah, it fluctuates with mass. We're talking about here on
It
Earth, the atmosphere.
9.81 is not a constant. It changes based on elevation, geographical location, electrical
Yeah,
storm. Brother, yeah, it's not a constant. So chill out
it
with that.
changes how
And it's
close you
also, dude,
are
I'm
to the
letting you like
center
you
of
just
Earth. There you go.
Let one person finish talking before the other steps in.
yeah. And I apologize, I'm doing it too. But like
It's all good. I mean, unless you're getting agitated back and forth, it's really when I want to just go in and break it up for a second. But you guys are doing good. Keep it up. You got 15 minutes left, or 13, 14.
If you want to
oh
move
wow.
on, I don't mean to interrupt. If you want to move on to one of your points, because we've talked about this for a while, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you have no evidence that gravity is the cause for downward acceleration. You keep invoking the effect as the evidence of the cause. That's not how science works. That's anti-scientific. That's pseudoscientific.
I've told
And
you
I
the cause,
will
you just say it's the effect.
it 9.81 is definitely the effect. I feel like any source would agree with me on that. The highest levels of academia would agree with me. Actually, the highest levels of academia would tell you that they don't know what the cause is. Like with 100% certainty, they have a bunch of working theories with mathematical calculus solutions that kind of work, but they
You
don't
know,
actually know an established cause.
they
So
would
if we're
tell you
moving
that.
on,
Well, they would tell you, you can't just say that and then say moving on. If you're going to continue the conversation, then I will too. They would tell you that it's the bending and warp. Mass has an effect on space-time, the geometry of space-time. What you're trying to get
they would,
into is quantum gravity. We don't know how quantum gravity works, if there's a gravitron or something like that. But
yeah,
good thing, on a micro scale, gravity is fine. Macro doesn't affect our understanding of gravity on a micro scale. It
because
seems
we
to work
only use the
perfectly fine.
that's because we only use the downward acceleration rate on a
No, we
small scale.
don't. When we're looking at stars, especially galaxies, that's how we know what how massive
You use
galaxies are.
9.81 on stars.
No, I'm saying we don't. When we're measuring how big, how
Thank
massive
you.
a
We
galaxy
only,
cluster
bro,
is,
stop interrupting me to agree
I
with
was
what I'm saying.
saying,
Bro, you just interrupted me to like slap yourself in the face and then raise your hand in victory. That was not good, right? So 9.81 is the effect that works on a small scale. I agree. We can measure how fast things fall. And by the way, your vacuum chamber thing, there's no air resistance, so that's actually what you would expect anyway. So yeah, we can measure that. That's cool, and it does work on a small scale, on an earthly scale, within a certain margin of error. Perfect. Now, when we go out to the cosmological scale, it doesn't work anymore. Neither does F equal ma, which is what you would effectively be invoking if you're still stuck in the Newtonian archaic worldview with like 1666 and apples falling, right? I don't. I'll concede, bro, and I think you should too. Like, I don't make a claim on what the downward acceleration rate is caused by, and you have no evidence that it's caused by bendy, warpy spacetime.
I do, and I provided 2 scientific published peer-reviewed papers that prove it.
Very cool.
And you provided Google AI.
That you agreed with. Now, moving on. I'll share screen. This is something that I went over. I'll wait for it. Okay, this is something that I went over briefly. The
Your screen's
symmetry
just
is when we
black.
swath the ocean. We do this method called swathing. It keeps not letting me. There we go. We map out using a 3D Cartesian coordinate system in Euclidean planar trigonometry. This is simply taking no physical or measurements for Earth curve whatsoever, and we get very accurate measurements of the ocean floor. The abyssal plains are measured flat, 50% of the Earth's surface. There's also the Somme plane, which I believe is like, I'm not going to quote that, I'd have to Google it, but trying to do this quickly, we don't make any corrections for Earth curve when we swath the ocean. This is just a fact. And we can swath the ocean up to 21 miles using things like the Sea Mark II, which is a multi-beam sonar device. This is just, doesn't work on a ball. We measure it from a horizontal datum. We have to assume sea level is horizontal, this area up here, okay? And we also have to measure depth relative to that horizontal datum. And we also have to measure width relative to a horizontal datum. So you have to assume that sea level actually means that it's flat, and you have to assume that the ocean floor is parallel to flat sea level. This is objectively how they do it. This is straight from the NOAA and a variety of other sources. Scholars, there's some documents that I found, but a lot of it's straight from the NOAA, which is like the NASA of the ocean. I was just going to say the word feasibility test. This is what McToon said you would expect to see that on a ball, but he didn't actually attack the argument with specificity. So I'm hoping you can do that since you piggyback off of his argument so much. The herd feasibility test is when we dropped 200 to 300 pound explosive charges that detonated just outside of Perth, Australia, and they were received by a SOFAR station with a hydrophone in Bermuda. So, and that is 12,300 miles away, 19,000 kilometers. And this was repeated 2 different times with the herd feasibility test, and they were able to get it about 11,000 miles and 10,000 miles respectively. That does not work on a ball with a 24,901 mile circumference. That is nearly half the circumference of the globe. So and we're like measuring this with Euclidean math to beat that. So that's my claim.
Yeah, I don't know specifically about those 2 you quoted, the 2 experiments you quoted, but what I can tell you is that just because you use Cartesian coordinates does not mean something's flat. In like the grand scale of things, this is what I'll talk about because I'm most familiar. We call that a manifold. We use that like Earth is a manifold, something that's sufficiently large you can zoom in on and treat it as Euclidean because that is locally flat. Same thing's happening with the ocean floor. That's why it's only to a set distance.
So is 19,000 kilometers locally flat?
No, but they weren't using sonar to map the ocean floor. That's not what that experiment was, right?
But not that one, no. But we received it 19,000 kilometers away. How would that work if it had to bend around half the circumference of the globe?
Because it travels much better in water, and the lower you go. So radio waves or sonar, the waves they receive will change speed with also density of the water and temperature of the water.
And salinity.
Yeah, and they can get stuck in there. And once again, if they're stuck in there, they're going to follow the curve of the Earth. It's like 2,000, or it's like 2,000 to 4,000 feet down is where it's like the sweet spot, somewhere in that ballpark.
Do you have evidence that this is what's happening?
With that specific experiment, I would have to read that specific experiment. I don't even know which one you quoted, but it's a very well-known fact that that's what happens. Even on your flat Earth, you have to admit that happens.
What, the sound speeds up in water? Yeah.
No, that it can get trapped in between a layer that's like, so down here can be super dense but really cold, so it won't be able to penetrate. And then up here can be super warm but not dense enough, so it'll get stuck in this area and it'll bounce like it does in tropospheric ducting.
I don't concede to that because I'll show you. We use these things called convergence zones. And it's how we get long range propagation underwater. This is what I was showing you. I didn't mention it, so it's okay. I'm sorry about that. But this is the convergence zone, and I know this blue down here is probably very hard to read, but I found this in a document that I was reading. Convergence zones repeat at multiples of the range between the source and the first convergence zone. So when it bends down, because of the salinity and the temperature of the water, it actually starts to bend back up. And this will be called a convergence zone. These waves, sound waves, converge, and then they bend back up. This is, you can see, right about at 30 kilometers roughly, and then it would converge again at 60. And then because of the temperature and the salinity decreasing now, or well, temperature increasing, salinity decreasing, right? It would start to converge again, and it would bend back down. So this is actually how these things propagate. And again, this is measured with a horizontal datum, horizontal reference point.
That's
and these
exactly
converge with. That's not exactly what you said. Don't do that. I'll stop you.
that is exactly what I just said. If you can pull that picture up though, again here real quick.
Okay.
Bigfoot one?
Yeah, I can show you.
I forgot about
that. I could draw it better.
Yeah, so at the last sentence there, predicting the characteristic parameters of the deep sea convergence zone necessitates an examination of its distance, width, and gain. So you are admitting these give gain to those.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay, so on your flat Earth model, you also have to agree that they get trapped in these zones, and they'll do like a zigzag.
You said it was a
going more like
zone that was 2,000 feet beneath the surface, and
I
it
said
gets
like
stuck
2,000
there.
to 4,000,
Don't do that.
somewhere in there.
Don't do that. You
Don't
said
do
it
what?
was
Correct
2,000
you on
feet.
misquoting me?
Well,
This is 4,000. This is 4,000 meters. So like, it'd be more than that significantly.
just want to let you guys know
regardless-
there is a transcript available after the debate ends or the stream ends. You guys can always go back and double check on that if you want.
I'm sure I will. However, your claim was that it gets stuck at about 2,000 feet or whatever you said, semantics aside, beneath the surface, and it just bends there. No, it bends all the way back up to the surface and then begins to bend back down. And yes, it does cause gain. It converges. That's what causes it. As signals converge with each other, it increases them. It increases the decibels. And then they bend back down, and the same thing happens. This can be measured for hundreds of kilometers.
Okay.
It's documented.
So it's gain.
Stop saying that your claims agree with mine when, like, oh my God.
It's a gain on whatever that experiment was. I don't know what it was. If it was transmitting a signal, I think you said they dropped an explosive or something. So it's a gain on that whatever signal they're mapping there to reach that distance. Normally, it wouldn't be able to. So you agree that happens on a flat Earth.
Yeah, and we measure
okay.
it as
So on a curved Earth, we don't measure it as flat. On a curved Earth, if it's trapped in a zone, it's going to follow the curve of the Earth because the Earth is curved.
You'd have to provide evidence of that, brother.
Provide evidence of what?
The picture that I showed you didn't show curvature, right? This is a 3D Cartesian coordinate system measured with planar trigonometry.
So that I have to correct you. You're trying to inflate those two. So that sonar thing that you were showing is not on a Cartesian coordinates. By the way, Cartesian coordinates are just inherently Euclidean. No, the Cartesian coordinates that you're talking about are for sonar mapping the ocean floor. They go out to about like 7 miles, I think. That thing that you're referring to is not mapped with a Cartesian coordinate system.
I will show you. I will show you. This would be your z-axis, right? This would be your zenith. And this would be your X or Y, right? And I know that's not a 3D Cartesian coordinate system, but that is not curving math.
What are the four coordinates?
What you're misunderstanding, don't interrupt me, please. What you're misunderstanding is that they treat sea level as a horizontal datum, where my mouse is. This would be sea level. They assume this to be horizontal for up to like 200 to 300 kilometers. You can't do that if the Earth curves, my guy. That's not how it works. And you assume the sea floor to be parallel to it, which means you're using planar trig to map this out. My guy.
I mean, if you're just trying to map out, like, I don't know too much about sonar, right? But if you're just trying to map out that, I would assume it's the same as microwaves. So this is an unsubstantiated claim. But I would, my first thought on that, if they're saying, which I don't know, if they're saying, yeah, we treat both of these as horizontal, and they're curving together, it's easy to treat those both as horizontal. That's just simple math trick, like with the K factor.
Would it be
It
easier to
changes
treat them?
spherical calculus to linear calculus. However, I want to address that you said that's a Cartesian coordinates. What are the 4 in a 2D Cartesian coordinate? What are the 4 quadrants?
Oh, I thought we weren't doing quizzing.
Oh, sure. You know what? That's fair. It's plus, plus, minus, plus, minus, minus, and plus, minus.
Actually, you know what? I did know that. Yeah, I don't. You got me though. You got me though. With your little gotcha, you got me.
No, I said that's fair, and I answered it right away, unlike you will do. But yeah, that's not a Cartesian coordinate system. That is simply a graph.
Okay, and it's like you're still misunderstanding the argument.
No, you're trying to inflate that
Dude,
is a
you got it?
Euclidean.
You scared?
Well, you're
Let me talk? What's going on?
misrepresenting.
Right,
what
one
I'm
at a time.
saying.
One at a time, guys. Go ahead, Clip, and then Soli, I'll give you a chance to respond.
Yeah, that graph that you're showing with the sonar and the convergence zones is not mapped on a Euclidean Cartesian coordinate system. That is not what that is.
Using
Alright, go
planar
ahead, Soli.
trigonometry. It's using planar trigonometry, and you the Euclid Cartesian, that's with sonar with bathymetry. Yes, I agree to that. This is planar trigonometry though. So if I misspoke, whatever, that's fine. I can concede to that. However, you're not addressing my point, is that we assume sea level to be a horizontal datum, and we assume the ocean floor to be parallel to it.
I did
do that if that's not what we. And I also want to ask you a question. You said that this works if the Earth is sphere. Would this also work if the Earth was flat?
Sure. I mean, if the Earth was flat, yeah,
There you go.
it could work. But
We have
also,
to map
if
it
you're
out.
going to graph that and that wave or that propagation, whatever that sonar is detecting, I don't know. But if it's curving at the same rate that the ocean is curving, like the ocean floor, and you just make both of those straight, kind of like with k equals infinity, that makes one graphing it much easier and the math much easier because you're no longer doing spherical calculus.
With k equals infinity, since we never got a chance to talk about it,
well, you tapped
why
out.
don't they ever use the true Earth radius?
Because there's a lot of the atmosphere is messy.
Yeah, why don't they ever use the true Earth radius?
I just told you the atmosphere is messy. Microwaves get diffracted, all sorts of signals.
Why don't they ever use the true? Why don't they ever use the true Earth radius though?
I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this because the atmosphere is messy. There's lots of stuff going up there all the time.
Is the Earth so messy that we have to treat it with an infinite radius value though?
We don't use that infinite radius value hardly ever. It's only in cases of super refractive.
Yeah,
not all the time.
Ducting. I never got to show sources, and I probably won't because we're running out of time. However,
yeah, I'll let you guys have a couple more minutes back and forth before we get into the Q&A. I'm gonna start putting a poll together here, so we'll have that up. We'll have that up as soon as we start the Q&A. So go ahead if you want to. We'll have a couple more minutes here.
Thank you, sir. Let me get back to my, because I actually highlighted it specifically for this. Called flat Earth because the horizontal, I have to move this thing. Horizontal axis or baseline has been kept flat, represent the Earth's curvature as a flat line. Okay, and it's invoked with tropospheric ducting. I have all of the math here, like all of it. If you want me to go through all the math, I can. But if you have a duct, which is when it's the K factor is below negative 0.157, which you can derive using calculating your refractive index, modifying it by adding 0.157, which is the number in question, in correspondence with height, like multiplied by height. And then you get a duct, right? That's how they math it out. So when tropospheric ducting is invoked, which is the entirety of your argument, is that it's bending around the ball at the same rate, which is just magic, honestly. Like, can you honestly tell me that you believe that it would bend perfectly at the same elevation relative to the Earth's surface while it was bending around the ball, dropping 80 miles in the process as it's going an 830-mile distance? I mean, God, dude, what kind of mumbo jumbo do they teach you? It's insane. But yes, when tropospheric ducting is invoked, they assume the radius value of the Earth to be effectively infinite, because that's the only way you can keep the beam straight and have the Earth parallel to it underneath of it. So yeah, it's the same thing. I agree with you. It's the same thing, but you still have to make the Earth flat to make it work in modeling and path loss and link planner. So you can't even treat the Earth like it's a ball in reality, and you still haven't answered my question. Why don't they ever use the true Earth radius? Why do they have to fluctuate it?
I've answered that question several times. But yeah, planning out or mapping out a spherical calculus problem where the wave is curving at the same rate the Earth is, which isn't ridiculous. If it's in the atmosphere curves with the Earth. Even if you don't believe our model, on our model, that's what happens, right? So that's not magic.
Yeah.
If it got trapped in there, that would happen. And I don't know what you were talking about, the rate of the same elevation. If it's in the atmosphere, that's where it's going to be at.
Is the atmosphere the
just-
same for 830 miles?
No,
Oh, so it wouldn't be
not
the same.
generally.
So it wouldn't be the same.
Well, the elevation would.
No, it wouldn't. For 830 miles, you think
If
the
it's in a
atmosphere would be
wave
the same?
guide, if that is how long that duct is stretching, then yeah, it'll be in the same elevation.
Dude, I hope
However,
somebody took a tally mark of how many times I made you double speak tonight. It's insane.
Okay. Whatever you have to do to feel good. But the K
I want-
value is only no, you didn't. You said quality of sources. All of your slides contained AI overview from Gemini and ChatGPT, by the
I
way.
sourced Noah multiple
You want to pull
times.
slides again to
And I
show all the
sourced-
AI answers?
That's for the math, bro.
So the math that you're claiming proves the Earth is flat is from an AI source, so not quality.
No. Okay, here. You know what? I'll show you, bro. Because McTune tried to do the same thing, and I'm not gonna let you get away with it. This is
Well,
Anara.
I
which
didn't
is
even set
don't
the
interrupt me.
parameter
Don't interrupt
of
me.
the-
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. So this is Anara, which is a scholarship AI. You actually have to have a subscription just to use it. So it's very highly sophisticated, and it's weird that you would attack this as opposed to attacking the actual argument. But this is not AI. Okay. This is from semanticscholar.org. I have the link right here. I link everything. Okay. This is from, let's see, I'm not going to, EDU. It's an EDU website. Is that lying too? Is that AI too? Right? Nijotech.com, not a .eu, sure, I'll admit it. Evansolutions.com. We have urgentcommunications.com. This is just from my Google
AI?
Drive file, unfortunately. Yeah.
That was AI.
Western states. Yeah, this is to simply give a selective overview, bro. Where do you think I get a lot of this stuff? It's insane. So westernstatesforum.org, okay? NASA,
Which this is-
EBSCO.
Yeah, EBS,
Continue.
whatever that is wrong. It says that microwaves right there can't refract. Is that what it said? Unlike low frequency radio waves, they cannot pass around hills or mountains and are not refracted or reflected by atmospheric layers. That's just wrong.
Yeah, they're not.
They absolutely are.
Oh, here. You want to read the whole thing?
No, I don't want to read like the whole paper.
Oh,
man.
okay. Yeah, run away from that.
I want you
Yeah,
to show
run away
your
from that.
AI slides.
Run away from that. Run away from. Yeah, you only want to cherry pick the ones that are AI because all of the rest of them make me look good. You
No,
dummy.
they don't. They don't at all.
Does me sourcing NASA, does that make me look bad?
Yes, because you don't understand
Okay.
what you're sourcing. Absolutely, yes.
So I can't read this if I wanted to.
What?
So I wouldn't be able to read.
Oh no,
this.
you can. I'm sure you can pronounce all those words.
Oh, okay.
After
I can't understand.
so
I got you, bro.
yeah, after this we'll go into the Q&A. Or
I think we're done.
Okay.
I'm done, honestly. This guy's
fair
double
enough,
speaking.
guys. I put a poll in there, in the chat there, so just let me know. These are so.
Can I use the restroom
did
real
I,
quick?
yeah, sure. Did I spell persuasive wrong? I'm sorry. I don't know. I was typing it fast here, trying to hop in and out of Windows. Okay, we will start at the top here. We got a couple to run through. Appreciate you guys getting through that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And
Yeah, sorry for my clicky keyboard, everybody.
I honestly couldn't hear it personally. I think Eamon, who did the other flat Earth debate the other night, he had much louder hardware.
That's good.
And he used it as an aggressive tactic versus you being conscientious about it. So I appreciate it. All right, we're loading up these super chats here, guys. Get them in. If you want me to ask a question, I will do so. Let's start at the top here. Right, you back, Soli? Cool.
I'm good.
I see Spence said clippy keyboard. That's
yeah,
funny.
I saw that.
All right. Minus the Bear, Sarah. I love that band, Minus the Bear. That's awesome. Upgraded to became a member at the spectator level. I appreciate that, Sarah. You'll be able to watch DebateCon 8 live if you are not making it. All right. Starting with LJ69, he says, we still can't go see rockets land on Earth in person. And you guys are both willing or able to if you're willing, you are able to comment on either questions or comments directed at either party. So you know, if you don't have to, but you're welcome to. If there's one at Clip, Soli can comment on it, being like, "Yeah, I agree with that," or vice versa. So yeah, that was the first one there from LJ. Was basically saying we still can't go see rockets land. I don't know if anyone
Yeah, I think
knows.
that's peculiar.
Not peculiar at all. They're important to the government and the mission. SpaceX, you were able to see the first one that came down. I mean, you can go stand outside the area for SpaceX and watch them return, but I don't know what that really has to do with anything, I guess.
And guys, we are in subscribers only mode. James hopped on there, strong armed the chat into a submission. So become a subscriber to the channel. It's free, obviously, if you'd like to stay in the comment section there. Right. Next super chat, we got Icy Spin for 2. He says, was the movie Twister a psyop by Big Swirly Wind?
It was a good movie.
I'm gonna get hate. I've never watched it.
It was a good movie. It was
Classic.
on. Yeah, it is a classic.
Didn't they remake it?
They did remake it.
Yeah, never seen one.
Yes, Iron Zealot. James is a totalitarian on his channel. It's his channel, brother. I see Spin with another one says, Soli is a good example of the state of flat Earth. So sad. And I'll just read his last one because it was 3 in a row there. Appreciate you, IC Spin, for the super chats. He says, how does a helicopter hover without blowing away?
What? Is that for me?
Either. Whoever wants to answer it.
I mean, I think it'd be biased if I answered it, so I'll leave it up to you to answer first.
You're welcome to answer it. I mean, you're there to represent your side, so.
Dude, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, conservation of momentum. It's moving with the atmosphere. The atmosphere is moving with the Earth.
Even though that's not what they claim.
What?
It doesn't move in perfect lockstep with the Earth. That's why you have Coriolis. I
mean, you might have small effects from like Coriolis and stuff, but in general.
Oh, okay. So it's like the state of limbo. It's like Schrodinger's Coriolis. Okay.
Not at all. It's just Coriolis is super minute.
Okay.
All right, before I go on to the next one by Slide Tendencies, I just want to remind everyone to check out right next to me. We are on Rumble. It's amazing. We are on Rumble finally. We've been asked so many times. We're there. If you have a Rumble account, go subscribe, please. We, I think, had one a while back, and this is the new one for this specific. And it does say Modern Day Debates with an S at the end on there. So if you can't find it, put the S on the end instead of just debate on YouTube. Yes, live in HD. It's amazing. All right. Slide Tendencies. Your chat is Solus. Wait, what?
Excuse me.
Oh, he's saying you're still sore from Planet Peterson.
Oh, I want to take this opportunity, actually. I challenged Planet Peterson to debate me on here, and he's dodged me twice. So if anybody takes that as me being scared, then you can just believe that. That's cool. But I want to publicly challenge him to come and debate me on here. So
we could
I'll defend Planet Peterson a little bit. He's going to school and he's working on, or he's about to have his first kid, so he just doesn't have time.
He has a lot of time to run TikTok lives.
Well, yeah, that's his job. But like setting something aside, especially when you're doing school and having a kid on like a Friday or Saturday, it's not very realistic.
Okay. It is difficult being a dad, but it's the most rewarding thing. CK Mamacita sends 10. Thank you for your super chat. They say, by Soli's own logic, everything Clip presents will be, quote, anecdotal, end quote. Soli has never done anything. Nice hotel for the debate in the 4th. What cast in your Bamate talks will have a field day with this? Max, are you doing an after show? Invite Soli on.
He invited me. I don't know. It depends what my wife is doing. If you don't mind, Soli, I do want to address something. I see a lot of people, and this is a defense of Soli a little bit. I see a lot of people like making fun of like the hotel and stuff, and like his like speculating about his living conditions. I think that's wrong. I don't know what that has to do with any sort of debate. I think that's terrible. If you're a Glober doing that, stop it. It's dumb. It's not good.
But thank you. But no, I'm doing well, actually. I'm doing quite well.
Good.
Clean shaven and stuff. Somebody's knocking at my door, actually. That's weird. However, I've not used the word anecdotal a single time, so thanks. I'm gonna
Yeah, I honestly don't remember if he said anecdotal. I don't remember him saying it, so
Well,
not this time at least.
Yeah, you weren't the one who said it. It was CK Mamacita with her $10 or his $10 super chat. I'm not gonna ever be able to figure that one out. All right. Yeah, Kevin Bacon says play a haters. I see spin.
They had the wrong room.
Wrong room, guys. I see spin for 2 says Soli has 0 evidence for flat Earth. Why are we here? And then one more after that, he said, Soli, where can we read your research papers?
I'm not addressing that. Well, the first one I will. Like, I gave evidence that we treat the Earth as if it's flat and stationary. Well, maybe not. We didn't get to get into aviation, so not stationary. But yeah, research papers. If you're just going to appeal to that, that's kind of silly.
All right. Next one is Evening Star 7. Says, Clip, you're gaslighting. Quote, straight lines are curved, end quote. Did you say that?
Yeah, straight lines can be curved on a 3D surface. That's just like if you take a globe, the shortest path between that is a straight curved line. That's just how geometry works for 3D things on a sphere. Try and draw a straight line, it's going to be curved. That's just how that works.
Evening Star.
Jack Feder for 5. He is very passionate about this topic. He says, Soli, the most embarrassing quote tell in your debating is your nervous laugh you go to when smacked down. You do this frequently.
Yeah, I laugh at my opponents a lot. You're right.
All right.
They say funny stuff, man.
Next up is Basil Problem. He says, Clip, what is G Mu Nu?
What is what?
The letter G, MU, space NU.
I'd have to see it. I don't know what those letters don't mean. Like G, is it big G, little g?
It's all little letters, lowercase.
Well, is there like an equal or plus sign? Or
there's no.
I would have to see it. Maybe I'm just not like the verbal isn't clicking. Maybe there's something there, but I don't know.
I think it's definitely equational.
Yeah, gravity mass U. I don't know what.
No,
I don't know. What
I was thinking gravity mass, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what he's.
Yeah.
I think maybe that U is supposed to be a subscript, but I don't know.
Yeah, it says G space MU space NU. There's no punctuation either. Anyways, thank you, Basil. You said you weren't gonna support the channel anymore, but yet you sent that super chat. I know you still care. CK Mamacita for 5 says, Soli, do you love making a fool out of yourself like you did with MC Toon, not Mick Toon, and Blitz? You are losing the debate, bro, to a guy named Clip.
That's a subjective opinion. I wholeheartedly disagree, but okay.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree. One of the parameters was quality. I brought no AI sources. All mine were scientific, published, peer-reviewed papers. So there's that. And sorry, MC Toon, for mispronouncing your name. I've been calling you McToon for a while. I apologize.
Yeah, I call him McToon.
I did it a couple times in a debate I moderated with him. I apologize.
Yeah, was my NASA source AI?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. Was my, let's see, urgent comm source AI?
I have no idea. I'll say no. I don't remember which one that was.
So you're cherry picking. That's cool.
No, I mean, looking at the data or the evidence that you brought forth, that was AI, which does provide some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of inherent hesitancy towards your other sources.
It was just going over the math.
Which is a huge part of any predictive model, is literally the math.
Okay.
IC Spence says, apologies will be reviewed by a panel. Thanks. Okay, that's great. IC Spin also sent a super chat that says, Soli, how many stars do you think there are?
I don't know. Is there even an answer to that? Do they make a claim?
I don't know if there's a hard number, to be fair, but like dozens of quadrillions. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I don't know if you could put a number on it.
Yeah, I don't disagree that there's a lot of lights.
I think he was just asking like if you were gonna say like 12 or something.
There's at least 8.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
there's a lot.
At
There's
least
a lot.
8.
All right. Basal problem for 5. Clip. I've heard Will Duffy is a young Earth creationist and is opposed to women's rights. Do you know this? Also, is he a polar explorer?
Who Will Duffy? That was the guy that was in the final experiment, right?
He funded it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, that guy. What was it? He's a like a he hates women or something. What was the question?
Yeah.
I don't even know that.
I'll read it one more time. He said, Clip, I've heard Will Duffy is a young Earth creationist and is opposed to women's rights. Do you know this? Also, is he a polar explorer?
I didn't know this, and I still don't know this. This is just someone's claim, so I'm not going to say anything on it. If they are true, yeah, the women thing, that's terrible. That's I don't want to swear on your show, but yeah, that's terrible. The young Earth creationist thing, he needs to talk to a geophysicist to get rid of that sickness. And is he a polar explorer? Did he go to the final experiment? I don't know if he was on there, if he just funded it, but if he went, then yeah, he's a polar explorer.
That's cool. Jack Feder for 5 says, Soli, atomic clocks have a higher accuracy in a vacuum. You only strengthen his argument.
That was my argument. Oh my god. All right, you win.
Thank you for the
I
5,
pay
Jack.
money to be wrong. That's cool.
Mr. E-Man Original sent 5 and says, Sol, how does a vacuum give the energy to the gases for them to escape the gravitation's pull of the Earth? I read exactly how it was written. Soli, how does a vacuum give the energy to the gases for them to escape the gravitation's pull of the Earth?
I can rephrase it.
Yeah, why don't you?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to say, this could be wrong, but this is my understanding, is I think they're assuming you solely think the vacuum is sucking out. So what is that force that's pulling those out? When in our model, that's not what's happening. So I think that's what they're asking you. What is causing it to pull? I
The
think.
high pressure seeks low pressure. It's not a sucking thing. Like we call it that, like with vacuum cleaners, which run off of similar mechanics. But yeah, I don't think that guy needs to look into natural law and have a better understanding of how it works before he sends money to be wrong.
Well, to be fair, that's just my interpretation of it. So I could be wrong in what he's saying.
If he wants
He
to
should also work on
clarify
his
that
punctuation.
and tag me at Point Streams in the chat so I can see it, I'll read the clarification. But moving on, Evening Star 7 says, Clip, gravity is still a theory.
It's a scientific theory. There's lots of theories: electromagnetism, atomic theory, plate tectonics, all of its theories. The idea of a scientific theory is more than I have a theory on how my mouse works. So it's just colloquial terms bleeding into the scientific understanding in the general populace. It's a failure on the science community not clearly establishing what that means, but they have different meanings than colloquially me and Mike and Soli would use.
I don't disagree.
I see Spin for 2 says, Evening Star 7, also a universal law. So that's what I guess they're right after the gravity is still a theory one. IC Spin said also a universal law, and then he said one's in the chat if the other side is indoctrinated immediately after. Send another $2. Thank you, IC Spin, for being engaged.
Okay, the universal law thing is just the effect of downward acceleration. That is not. You should save your money, bro.
Yeah, I mean, laws describe. I'm not agreeing. I'm just saying yeah to open my statement because I'm stupid. But laws describe what's happening, or causes. Theories describe like what's happening.
All right. Next up is Evening Star again. Said flat earthers think for themselves. Globers are indoctrinated.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, I'll address this super simply. His slides were all the exact same that he's used in everything, meaning he has a script. Every Glober he's talked to has had a different point or has engaged with his point accurately and has debunked it. That's how we know science is being done and not
How did
indoctrination.
okay? I've used them twice on here. I've only been on here twice. Um, that's weird. And how did you debunk the bathymetry argument again?
It's just a super small area. We treat it as locally flat, and then they get stitched
19
together on global
19,000
coordinates.
kilometers is a super small area.
That's not using a Cartesian coordinate to map the ocean floor.
That wasn't the argument,
What was your argument?
that we treat sea level as a horizontal datum.
That's not what you said. Yes, about
I
bathymetry.
feel like you're gonna have to rewatch this.
Okay, yeah, maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, 4 times, actually.
Okay.
Multiple times. Yeah.
Soli,
Sorry.
you're on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Well, for the viewers, if you look to my right, we also have a TikTok. So if you follow him on TikTok and you're on there all the time, check this out here, and you could watch this debate back in different clips and things like that from the channel, all sorts of stuff. We haven't always had one, but I just want to do my part and let you guys know that we're on there now. And Rumble, like I said, we're finally on Rumble, streaming right now. You can go there. And I think Facebook, yes, we do have a Facebook there. That is very necessary for the boomer crowd. We have to bring them into the fold.
I agree with that.
And then for the millennials here, that's the sponsor. I do believe we have an Instagram. That is somewhere on here. I had these all organized. Anyways, yeah, we do have an Instagram. It's same. Modern day debates. All right, moving on here. We got some more super chats coming in. Appreciate you guys sticking around. I see Spin responded to Evening Star with $2 and says, "Flat Earthers don't think. Globers accept evidence." So this is riffing off the Evening Star. Flat Earthers think for themselves. Globers are indoctrinated. Comment.
We're not taught a flat Earth model from birth and reinforced into that belief system with propaganda. We have to come to this conclusion by looking at evidence or lack thereof.
You look at evidence from all the same sources across all the same scripts. We have predictions for models. Other people have tested and confirmed, and then we
How
go out
many
and test them for ourselves.
how many people have approached you with either of my k equals infinity or bathymetry arguments?
The k equals infinity thing, no one, and then the bathymetry argument. I think I have heard about sonar before, to be fair, in the flat Earth realm. So you're not the first, but like
I'm
that
the only
specific explaining.
person. I'm the only flat earther that uses the k equals infinity argument, so therefore, by definition, it can't be a script.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone else out there hawking it,
Nope.
right?
I'm
But
the one that. Well, I
you've
got
talked
it
to
from a guy
everyone. Like what?
I got it. Well, no, I've been a flat earther for 10 years and I've never seen anyone else use it. So if there is other people, it's not a lot. And I also got it from a microwave tech. So technically you could say that he uses it, but he doesn't really do public debates. I think he should, but he doesn't. And
Then you did
I'm
learn
the
it from
only
someone.
one that's gone publicly with this information on platforms like this. I've done it twice now, and I go publicly on TikTok about it. And I know a lot of flat earthers on TikTok. I know thousands of them, and I've never heard a single other one even come close to being able to make this argument. That's an insult. It takes a lot of research, but just saying, you can't say that I'm reading a script when I'm the only one. I wrote the script on that particular.
Yeah, and
So
you're
you're
now
welcome.
reading the script that's been debunked. That's
That I
reading a script.
wrote. So it's not a script. You're so silly.
What? No, that is a script. You said you wrote the script. You're following the script.
Yeah, I wrote it, bro.
I
So you
took that
can't follow it.
as a phrase, just a phrasing
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But we're gonna move on here. We got a bunch of super chats to get to. 400 people in the chat live right now. Guys, like the video. What are we at with the likes? Only 78. Come on. Why are you still
Yeah, I
here?
should like it. I'm
Go
sorry.
like it. Go like it. Back to the comments. Okay. So we left off at IC Spin. He said engaged AF. Yes, you are. His last one in that sequence of super chats was Soli. verified science requires a replacement dodo.
I'm sorry.
He said verified science requires a replacement dodo. I think dodo might have been an insult, and not you need a
Like
dodo
bird.
replacement.
Verified science requires a replacement.
You had enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even like a complete sentence.
Yeah, he had enough characters
is.
for 1 comma.
Oh, yeah, he probably should have paid more to be wrong.
Well, no, what he's saying is that if we have a verified model that works, you have to find something to replace that model.
No, falsification is independent of replacement. I can prove to you that your model is incorrect based on the lack of curvature and the lack of detectable motion, and I do not to provide a backup replacement to falsify your model.
Yeah,
That's
but the
objectively
issue,
true.
like I said, the key
Oh,
word
so you
there is
agree?
working model. We have a
So you
working
agree?
model that predicts things.
You don't have a working model. It's missing 99% of its universe.
No, it's not.
Dark matter and dark energy, brother. Debate
You
me
don't
on
want to get into that
cosmology next time.
topic. Yeah, cosmology is my wheelhouse. That's why I smacked you around with gravity. You don't want to do that.
Let's set up another one
Yeah.
there. So Kango sent $5. He didn't say anything. He just wanted to support the channel, or he just messed up the super chat. Either way, thank you for the $5, Kango. Jack Fetter for 5 says, Soli use Google and ChatGPT frequently as, quote, proof. Why do you then deny their answer to the question, quote, what is the shape of the earth? Quote.
I never once used Google.
You use Gemini, right? I saw Gemini AI in your slides.
That was a Nara to do mathematics.
No, on slides previous, I saw the Google Gemini. Like, I saw the search bar.
Oh, and like an AI overview?
No. Oh, well, it might have been AI overview, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you use Google.
And then I had sources that corresponded what the AI overview was saying.
No, you had AI for the math, and then sources for saying, "Hey, look, there's convergence zones in the ocean." Cool.
So you didn't pay attention to any of my slides. I'll send you my whole slideshow. You can be the judge. How about that?
I mean,
actually, like, I promise you, I'm not addressing the slideshow thing again. It's actually getting fixed. Like you keep going back to that.
Won't use AI, and you won't have to address it.
You keep going back to that because you got wiped off, bro. You got wiped off the surface of the earth. You should probably quit. Like, it's cool.
I'm not going to. It's okay.
This is
all right, man.
This is your first public debate, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I do TikToks and stuff, but
okay.
Yeah. But like official, yeah.
Official. All right. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
I see Spin again says, Soli, do you believe Saturn is a spherical planet?
Based on information that I've gathered, it does appear to rotate. Sure, but I would not call it a planet, and I would actually implore you to look into the etymology of the word planet. It simply translates from Latin, or Greek actually, to the word wanderer. They used to call them wandering stars. So, if you have evidence that it's a planet, I would love to see that.
Was that about Mercury?
Saturn.
No, Saturn.
Oh, Saturn? I mean, okay, so it's spherical, rotates, but it's not a planet. Whatever you want to call it. Why is it a sphere if gravity doesn't exist?
Did you just presume that, did you really, out of all the words that I just said, did you hear the actuality of what I said?
Yeah.
I said it appears to be a sphere. It appears to rotate, but you cannot, with specificity and accuracy, just make those claims without having testable. You got to learn the scientific method, bro.
The scientific method is not a rigid body thing. That's something we teach middle schoolers and high schoolers just to give them a rough idea of how it works. A lot of science is done with exploratory science and where we do physical experimentation on stuff. The scientific method is not a rigid body that real scientists use. We have an idea, we maybe test it in a lab.
Oh, so real science is pseudoscience by definition?
Not at all. No.
What's the definition of pseudoscience?
Anything that presumes to be real science and isn't.
And doesn't follow a scientific method. I showed it in my opener when you weren't paying attention. I'll send it to you.
Nope. Was that one AI too?
It wasn't AI, by the way. It wasn't AI either.
All right. We got another from Basil Problem. He says, what point streams, what Subway sandwich length is felonious if thrown? 6 inch, a foot? You may need to ask Dr. Coons.
What?
Thank you for the super chat, Basil. But it's not a felony to throw any Subway subs. Just putting that out there. And Roach Carter If you have like a really, really good question, I'll read it for free. Otherwise, yes, we read the super chats to our guests. That's the way it works. Welcome to the channel. It's not just me. Evening Star 7 says, I like your Squashmallow clip. Squashmallow.
Oh,
clip.
the Squishmallow. Yeah, it's not a Squishmallow. I got that for my wife on Easter.
What is it?
It's
Curious.
just like a stuffed animal. It's not like the brand. Squishmallow is a brand. That's some. I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just
Okay.
it's like an offshoot brand for poor people to buy, and I got it for Easter.
Okay.
It has to be like really good, Roach Carter. Anyways, because these are still rolling in here, and I don't want to waste the people who paid time. You know, that makes perfect sense. Codage sends 5 and says, Soli, since you know about the K factor, can you explain the equivalence to the calculus derivation? What's the first step using calculus to falsify this?
To falsify it?
Went over my head,
I'm
guys.
not.
I'm just the humble moderator here.
It's not my job to falsify it. It's the burden of proof on the people who claim it. You guys don't
What?
understand logical etiquette, and it shows, but that's fine.
No, he's saying that. So we're saying that this is just simply to graph it easier since they're both curving at the same rate. If you're saying, if you're saying no, this represents the actual flat Earth, and that's what it actually is. They have to do this to get the radio wave mapped.
Not the claim.
Then what's your claim?
Not the claim. My claim is that you have to make the Earth flat in order to make it work, and you never use the true Earth radius value. That's when I asked you, when do we use the true Earth radius value? And you said the atmosphere changes in a response to when do we use the actual Earth radius value, which is never the case. We never use the actual Earth radius value. And to top it all off, this isn't even to model the radius value of the Earth. This is to model the path of the light. But they don't actually change the path of the light. They keep the path of the light straight and make the Earth flat underneath of it. That is the argument. I hope you can steelman it if we come across each other again. But
Yeah, no, see, that's where you're wrong. They don't. The radio wave isn't straight. The radio wave is curved along with the Earth.
why don't
K
we
equals
model it that
infinity
way?
flattens both. Because it's super difficult. You get into spherical calculus,
Okay.
and for
So
graphing a curved
computers can't
path.
do calculus, right?
No, you can. I just said it's difficult. It's much more tedious than doing linear algebra or linear calculus, especially when they're both straight and everything is just either pushed down or pushed up wherever they are.
Okay.
But yeah, that's simple, and it's easier to graph. Graphing
So
curved lines is difficult.
So we make it easier for the robots to do the math. Okay.
Yeah.
Clanker math. Swifty Drizzle sends 10. Thank you, Swifty. I told you, just be patient. I'll read your super chat. They said, how does the sunlight hit the bottom of clouds on a flat Earth? If reflection, why do sunsets look different than the rest of the day? It would require a horizon on a sphere.
Okay, so that's like asking why sunlight lights up your ceiling when it comes in through your bedroom window. It is reflection. And your second part of your question has to do with like Rayleigh scattering. But there's Eric Dubé videos from 2009 that can help you.
There's that script I was talking about for your indoctrination.
What?
Eric
A source
Dubé.
for my claims?
No, Eric Dubé is not a reliable
I don't actually
source.
vibe with Eric Dubé very much. I don't think he's aged very well. I don't think he's withstood the test of time in terms of like keeping up with the actual arguments. Like a true person who doesn't follow a script, I actually think independently of people who used to make videos from 10 years ago. However, he does have good videos that explain like how sunsets work for simpletons like the people who spend money to be incorrect on modern day debate, unfortunately.
We're just a platform. Mr. E-Man Original, that comment or question he had earlier about how does a vacuum give the energy to gases for them to escape the gravitation's pull of the Earth, he clarified and just said, my point was that in physics, pressure is considered to push and that gravity sucks.
So the gravity sucks.
I don't know if that clears it up or makes it more confusing.
No, that makes it worse. That makes it worse.
But I wanted
I don't know. I think he meant gravity pulls the gas down. I don't think he meant sucks. I think he was like his brain was typing, or his fingers were typing faster than his brain.
I wanted to honor my word of saying, hey, send a clarifying chat. I'll read it. Just tag me. Anyways, appreciate that. Okay, so last one was Codage or Swifty Drizzle. Codage sent another 2 and said, evap ducting works only 50 to 100 miles. Try again. Evaporative ducting.
Oh,
I'd have to see that. Yeah, I'd have to see that. I'd have to look into it
only
more.
works to
Like I
what
said,
range
that's
did
not
they
a
say?
claim that I was prepared to fully address, although I did find the sources for it, and I apologize that it was on my cell phone, but
All good. Yerba Mate Talks sent 75. I think it's fake money. Said after show on YMT. Yerba Mate Talks open panel. Let's discuss the debate. I'm also willing to debate Soli.
MX, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Soli.
no, it's just, I'm going to bed, bro. I'm not doing
That's
this like
fair.
after show thing.
That's fair.
Sorry.
MX,
Sorry,
I can
Max.
join for a little bit.
Oh wait, is that Max that debated Caleb?
MXXD.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, if he wants to schedule a debate on here, we can do that. He can
Is
reach out
MX
to me.
Let's go, Max.
one?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
can reach out to me through like TikTok or something. You can find me, bro.
Find me in the club. All right. Creed says for $10. Thank you, Creed. Clip, how do you solve the reification fallacy of space-time? Also, W. Soli.
I told you I don't care about your fallacies. They mean nothing for the correctness of my argument.
That's what I said,
It,
Max. It's fake. You're going pesos. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
it's pretty bad when the entirety of your argument is fallacious in reasoning. Yeah, it
It's not
doesn't. You're
fallacious
right.
at
You're
all.
right. You're right. It does not technically mean that you're incorrect, but when you simply are incapable of formulating an argument that is devout of fallacious reasoning, it does not make your argument look good.
I didn't. I provided scientific peer-reviewed published papers for all my claims. You just said nuh-uh. You said,
Oh,
and the reason I say I give you all fallacies is because flat earthers often try to use fallacies to feign credibility. I don't care. You can say I'm poisoning the well. You can say I'm doing all this. Doesn't matter. I don't feel any worse. Doesn't change the correctness of the argument.
I would strongly suggest looking into them though. It helps you not only notice when people are being irrational or illogical, it helps you refrain from being illogical yourself.
I hate the Phil Bro stuff. Won't do it.
It's not Phil Bro stuff, bro.
It
It's
is.
just it's called logical etiquette.
Like I said, give me a 0 for it. I don't care.
Yeah, you failed. I know, but
Yeah,
just saying. You could do
that's
better.
fine with me.
Logic is a skill. That's all that's what I'll leave it with. Logic is actually a skill. You can practice it and get better
I'm cool.
FE
at it. Okay.
Boogeyman for 5 says Soli gets cooked so routinely and he goes around pretending he won. He blocks and runs from everyone on TikTok so he can't get clipped anymore. See what you did there, the
I
clips.
think there's probably about a dozen clips of me, if that, on TikTok. I don't get clipped on just at all.
Wouldn't that like prove his point? You're just blocking people to not get clipped.
I don't know, not necessarily. I think
Fair enough. It
I
doesn't,
think it
but
would
I'm just
have to
saying.
happen first, and then like I would block. I think his claim is that I block is sort of like a band-aid, you know? But I don't know.
It doesn't. I'm just.
Jim Daniels, I'm checking if we said your chat already. I may have. I don't think I skipped it. Are you sure you sent it though? Yeah, we have not read a Jim Daniels chat here. I would have remembered that. Harmon Walker 3876 for 5 says Soli, good job. Clip has to care to understand and to want to learn. He has no intentions to learn.
Smart guy.
I have every intention to learn. I don't give out my name, and I don't ever use it as a source of authority. But I have my higher education. Believe it or not, if you want, I don't care, but I do learn. So that's the whole point.
Basil, I haven't skipped yours. You just haven't got there. There's 2 more before yours. I know Ryan would never do that. Real Harnold says for 5, rent is much cheaper if you lease an apartment rather than pay nightly for a hotel room. Subscribe to Harnold Studios for more pro tips and life hacks.
Yeah, that's an ad hom. I don't typically rent apartments, or I'm sorry, hotel rooms. I rented apartments through all my 20s, actually.
Like I said, I could care less. Not dogging on you, Soli. I could care less if Soli was a bum under a bridge. It changes nothing about the argument, and I think it's not great if people are just attacking that. If like that's the case, who cares? Even
Yeah,
if
I
we
feel like
disagree, I would want Soli to like be doing well, to have like a roof.
No, I mean, I feel like if that's where you are and you have to attack a person's like financial status or their appearance, like you kind of that's just a concession. Like honestly,
I think we can agree on that.
That's an example of logical etiquette right there. So, Clip, take notes.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I can learn.
There you
Maybe
go.
I do care.
This is probably the most good faith flat Earth globe
Yeah, I don't
debate
think it
I've
was
had.
ever crazy.
Basil problem for 5 says Clip G mu nu refers to the metric in GR, which may be gravity. I thought you'd know since you brought up T mu nu, the stress energy tensor.
Stress energy tensor.
Yeah, dude,
Okay,
come on, get with
I
it.
see what it.
Everybody
So
knew
it's
that.
not. It is a subscript. Yeah. It's he just can't do it on a keyboard. That's why I said if I saw it, I knew what you were talking about. Yeah. Metric tensor math and stress energy tensor math. Yeah. And it should be a little omega gr. It should be big gr, and what you're looking for is lowercase omega.
Thank you. All right. Lord Lost 120 sent 5 and says indoctrination is not teaching the alternatives to a subject. As Glober is, would even still have to concede that globe Earth theory is indoctrinated. I didn't understand the first part.
Yeah, that sounded like maybe not an insult, but it maybe insult. Maybe English isn't his first language. I don't really fully understand that.
Maybe
Yeah, I think
it was a Glober would even still have to concede that globe Earth theory is indoctrination.
Maybe.
I rephrased
Okay.
it.
I see what he's saying. Excuse me. I could almost agree to that. Excuse me. Yeah, I could almost agree to that. That's fine. We're taught that in school. I wouldn't consider it indoctrination, but I can see where you're going with it. And I think that becomes a semantical argument that I don't care to have because it doesn't change if it's correct or not.
Okay, I found Jim Daniels' super chat. I have no idea why it's not showing up on my fan funding thing here, which aggregates all the super chats. But he said, Soli, there have been over 20 spacecraft that have landed on the moon. Can you explain how those spacecraft penetrated the container you claim surrounds the Earth? Please do not handwave these facts. Sorry, Jim Daniels. I don't know where that went.
Please familiarize yourself with the flat Earth position. Have a good day.
Well, what is the flat Earth position? Where do those rockets go?
Point Nemo actually would be a good explanation for where they go. So there's sort of like a graveyard for, and it's documented too. You can just look it up. It's called Point Nemo.
I don't know
They
what Point
have
Nemo is.
yeah, they have like rocket debris, for lack of a better word, unmanned spacecraft, things like that. So yeah, they typically launch towards the ocean. And if you're intellectually honest enough, you should be able to admit that you can't really verify where it's going from that.
No, you can based on its speed and trajectory because it only curves when it gets to a certain altitude. You can figure out where that's going to go because especially if there's people inside. If you find that trajectory, if it
How
does
do you
this
verify
like
the speed?
suddenly, what?
How do you verify the speed?
All sorts of ways. You can
Yeah,
take
name
it
one.
from its. Yeah, you can point a map or you can put a point on like if you take a picture or a video, you can have it frame by frame, figure out how long it took to go past those frames. You could put an arbitrary point in the
How do
sky,
you
see how
get the
long it gets to
distance?
that point.
How do you
What?
get the distance from one frame to another?
By the length of the ship or whatever is moving. So you know how long it took to cross that frame.
I mean, I suppose that's actually not a bad idea. I like that.
Yeah, and then but you can figure it out from that, and then you can also assume that if there's people inside, especially when there's people inside, that it has to follow this path because if it suddenly does this, you're going to pull G's and start to unalive people. I don't know what I can say on this live. So
I appreciate
but
TOS.
Yeah. I don't
Unalive is
claim
fine.
rockets are fake. Hopefully, people understand that.
Vexed01 sent 5 and says, Clip, why are sun rays not vertical? Seems like a little trigonometry and you can get an idea of the actual distance of the sun.
why are they not vertical? The
They're
sun isn't.
divergent.
They're not directly above us beaming down.
Well, on a globe, the sun is so far away that all of the rays of light would effectively be parallel after traveling such a long distance. That's why you guys claim that Eratosthenes works, because you assume parallel light rays. But even Neil deGrasse Tyson would admit that it would work on a flat surface if you assume a
It
local light
could.
source with divergent rays. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think that's
good.
his argument. But I wouldn't use like trig to try to figure out a distance to the sun because it's you have to assume that the light is in fact traveling in a straight path, and light, of course, does not do that. So it doesn't bend, or
Did
it
he
bends
mean?
in.
Oh, sorry. Did he mean
No, you're good.
horizontal or vertical?
I think he just means parallel. I think he
Okay.
just means parallel. Maybe
Uh,
he's not too.
so
Yeah.
Jim
Yeah.
Daniels, I'm gonna skip up to him real quick and then go back to where we left off, just because I did him dirty earlier and couldn't see a super chat. He said for 10, thank you, Jim. He says USA, USSR, China, India, and Japan have all landed on the moon. Thanks for the hand wave. He's in a clown face.
Here, I'll give you another one. Here you go, bro.
Wow.
I think it's important to acknowledge, though, in the flat Earth model, that if there is a firmament of whatever mysterious substance, how are we getting through it? How is it on the moon? How are people on the moon
No
not
flat
affected?
earther would claim that we get through it. So
Yeah, but you would have.
that's why I said originally you should familiarize yourself with the flat Earth position. I'm not addressing straw mans. I just don't do it.
Yeah, but you would have to prove that the rockets aren't going up past the firmament because they objectively are. We
I
have
don't.
satellites.
This is why the logical etiquette thing is cool because you're just shifting burden of proof. You're the one that's claiming that they're going to the moon without supplying evidence of that.
And you're the one claiming they can't. When we have physical proof that there are
It,
satellites orbiting our Earth right now, you are saying those are fake. That's your
no, I
claim.
don't
You
claim
have
that
to
they're
prove
fake.
it.
I know that they use real inertial reference frames and assume that the Earth is in a non-rotating, non-accelerating state
For rocket launches?
for satellites. Keep up with your own argument,
What do you
brother.
mean for well, you think they're stationary on a flat Earth
No,
when they're orbiting? Say what you said again.
they use real inertial. They assume the Earth is in a real inertial reference frame, non-accelerating, non-rotating.
Oh, yeah, because it's orbiting
Because
it. It doesn't matter.
Newton's laws have to hold true.
It doesn't have. I mean, like that model will be
That's what
replaced
a real
later.
inertial. That's what a
But
real inertial reference frame is.
yeah, because it's orbiting the Earth. So it's following the Earth when the Earth accelerates. It's also accelerating with it.
Cool.
All right,
Welcome to the
next.
burden of proof club.
Next up, we got Alejandro Vallejo for 100. I think these are Mexican pesos. Falsification is independent of replacement solely. Even if you falsify something, which you don't, there are infinite possible globe models. So to argue for flat, you
What?
need a replacement model.
You don't. He just. So you're going to invoke falsification as independent of replacement, agree with it, and then simultaneously disagree with it in the following sentence.
I
That's
think he meant
called
to
double speak.
disagree.
That's called double speak. I would work on that.
Can you read the first part again?
Yeah, so Alejandro said falsification is independent of replacement.
Saying it is independent.
Yeah, even if you falsify something, and then you put in parentheses, which you didn't, there are infinite possible globe models. So to argue for flat, you need a replacement model.
Falsification is independent of replacement. You can prove that something is not true, and you don't have to have a replacement in your back pocket. This is like day one stuff, bro. This is not
Yeah, but
complicated.
if we have a working model that predicts things, you do have to have a replacement that then predicts the same exact things. Otherwise,
No,
what are you falsifying? The predictions still hold true to the model.
your model doesn't make that accurate of predictions first and
It
foremost.
does.
It not down to like the minute and the second like they claim. Like as far as like eclipses go, no, they can predict sometimes up to like the day, but then as you get closer to that day, that's when the predictions get slightly more accurate because you're more
Oh,
able to map out the path of the sun and the moon, for example. So again, falsification is independent replacement. If you're not intellectually capable of understanding that, that's not my fault. I would just I'd break down the words as they are formulated within the sentence itself. Pretty self-explanatory, but it's okay if you don't get it.
I will say our model does predict things very accurately years out. I have a book over there called How Things Work, and it predicts where the eclipses will be and how we do it.
Yeah, test the accuracy of it.
All right, next up we got IC Spin again. 2 questions back to back, $2 each. He says pseudoscience is unfalsifiable, like flat Earth. And then he said, Soli, name change suggestion. Arrow, arrow, arrow. Silly.
Yeah, you can try to make that one stick. Other people have tried it. It doesn't seem to work though. It's not quite catchy enough. You're gonna have to get more creative, unfortunately.
I've had Sid the Sloth be staking lately. People have been calling me Sid the Sloth, which I get.
I didn't see it till you said it, bro. Why'd you?
No, it's there. I get it.
You did that to yourself.
Shouldn't have done that.
Sadie Lady
okay.
says for 5, I joined in expecting a debate, but somehow ended up watching Soli take clip on a full evening dog walk. Fantastic job, Soli. Woof woof clip.
Thank you.
Or should we say
Yeah.
sloth? I don't think sloths really make a lot of noise. Detrimental to their health.
Really?
Yeah, they move so slow. They
sense.
probably should be
I was
quiet,
saying.
in my opinion.
Oh, they're like prey. Yeah.
Jack Fetter for 5 says, Soli, just stop, please. People you know will see this one day. The cringe is literally making me ill. This will be on the internet forever.
I do it because it's going to be on the internet forever, bro.
I think about that every time I go live.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's how Basil Problem and I are entangled.
How many more of these do we have?
Yeah, we have just a handful here. We
Okay.
should be done soon. Appreciate y'all guys hanging.
I've got nothing going on, so I can hang out.
Just got kind of a headache. I want to eat something, but you're good.
I feel you. Greatness Sports Training for 5 says, how do you explain there's no scientific proof of curve, spin, tilt, or motion?
There is motion. GPS prove that there's motion. Curvature, things disappear from bottom up. Even like surveyors have to account for curvature. Artillery has to account for curvature. When we're looking at like stellar aberration, we have to account for our motion going into the starlight. Stellar parallax accounts for motion, proves motion, all those things.
All those things are easily explainable from a geocentric position.
Stellar parallax is stellar aberration, kind of, but both of those things still require spherical Earth and relativity.
No, actually, no. If you considering GPS proves that light propagates faster east to west than it does west to east, it actually debunks relativity. And I can
No, it
source you
doesn't.
that.
Yeah, you're going to source the Canadian institution that did it. They
There's a
weren't doing it.
couple. I have a whole folder on that actually.
Yeah,
There's
they
more
weren't
than one.
doing it to prove the speed of light is different. They were doing it to understand how light works from different mediums to the satellite, and they specifically quote the Sagnac effect as the main source of it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sagnac effect proves that the ether exists, but we can get into
No. Ether is absolutely debunked.
Oh yeah, that's always just a right?
No, I mean, they got Mickels and Morley got a null result. They modern
Not true.
Yes, they did. They got 10 to the negative 17, which is the ceiling floor, or sorry, for the floor
10 to the
of their.
negative 17.
Yeah, that was the result they got of a drift, and that was only the noise of their equipment.
No, I will send you some. I don't know if you're worth the time. Actually, I'm not sending you shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, the motion that they got that they claim isn't a null result, even though Mickelson Morley said it was a null result, is actually just the floor for the noise of their equipment, the interferometers that they use.
It depends on which one you're
mercury.
referencing, but
all of them. All of them never hit the 10 to the negative 18 drift, or 10 to the negative 8 ether drift that you should experience if the ether is true.
I don't know where you're getting 10 to the negative 17 from, but
that was their ceiling. That was what they recorded. That was I keep saying ceiling. That was the floor for their noise of their equipment.
All right, guys.
And they never isolated for temperature too. Sorry.
I got like
they never did.
I got like 5 to 6 questions left here.
Good.
Or comments. I see Spin said, Witsit called. He said he wants you to stop using his one-liners because he will sue you, bro. Humbly.
I don't know if he would.
Suing costs money too. Morally upstanding citizen WI 2004 says, are the flat earthers just trying to grift a ride into space? Smart.
You know what? In terms of creative jokes that I've heard over the years, that one's definitely up there.
Yeah, that's smart if you were. Big if true.
That is big brain if you were. If you came out in like 12 years when it's like commercial,
fine,
and you're like,
we're
actually, I
taking
just
you.
want to get in space. I wouldn't. I would be impressed.
That's actually not a, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Keep it up. All right. Code Edge for 2 says Soli falsify the K factor via calculus. It matches. I think he kind of already asked you to do that, right?
Yeah, I'm not trying to falsify the K factor. I'm advocating for the position that the K factor represents, which is the radius of the Earth that you fluctuate to make the Earth flat, just to make the links work in path loss. You've yet to fully understand the argument. That's okay, bro. We can talk about it on TikTok. Maybe
The
I'll
K
even
factor,
unblock you.
the K factor isn't the actual curvature of the Earth. That's the whole point.
It's the path of light. Remember when we
It's
talked
not
about
the
that?
path of light. It's the
Okay.
apparent curvature of Earth.
That the path of light follows.
Yeah, but the K factor is not the path of
I
light.
got you
That
to
is not what the
double
K
speak again.
factor
Stop.
means.
Just stop. Just stop. Just stop.
That's not what the K factor means. I'm sorry.
It's the path of light. Yes.
Nope.
Okay. So what is the effective Earth radius then, right?
Yep. Apparent,
Okay.
I think, is what is actually used. But
which is the path that light follows, right?
I mean, yeah, the path of light would follow.
Okay, so it's the path of light. You're welcome.
Nope.
It
Not
did
at
it
all what that
twice.
means.
Oh my god, dude. I hope somebody please clip that. Somebody clip that. That was awesome.
Clip. All right. Basil's mommy for 5 says, Basilito, I let you stay up late tonight to play with your friends, but it's time for bed now, little guy.
I saw that.
Thanks, Basil's mommy, for reaching out through the super chat. It's kind of like when you get on the mic at a grocery store.
A little bit.
Jack Fetter for 5 says, there is no flat earth model, Soli. Every one of you claims, quote, we don't need one, and has different explanations for existing forces and mechanics.
Am I supposed to disagree with that?
Jack, is he supposed to disagree with that? Let's see if we can get one more chat out of him. Just kidding. Because we're at the bottom of the list here, and we're trying to wrap this up, Jack. So don't super chat this channel anymore. Okay, Greatness Sports Training just sent 10, but that's irrelevant to me telling Jack not to. Anyways, Captain Knight sent $2. He didn't say anything. He just wanted to support the channel. I appreciate that, Captain Knight. And then Jack Fetter sent $2 after that last comment and says, Soli, you're just a Timu Witsit. But then Captain Knight sent another 5 with words. Thank you, Captain. He said, did Soli prove the firmament without affirming the consequence?
Without affirming the consequence?
That's deep.
Not technically, no. But like, if you, the reality of it is that you cannot provide an example of gas pressure without a container. So if P then Q, which is what affirming the consequent is, if we need pressure, or if we need a container for gas pressure, then our atmosphere must be contained. So that is sort of like affirming the consequent, yes. But like I said earlier, the use of fallacious reasoning, like affirming the consequent or even begging the question, does not inherently mean that your position is wrong. That's why you guys got to freshen up on logic.
I mean, there can be pressure, by the way, without a physical barrier. If you take like sulfur hexafluoride in like a tub, there's a pressure right there with no lid from the Earth atmosphere.
In a what?
In like a tub.
Oh, okay.
Like
so in a container?
Well, no, because you remove the lid. You remove the lid, and there's still pressure where those two gases meet without a physical container because it's open.
But it's in a what?
It's in like whatever you want to put it in. I'm calling it a tub, but it's usually like an acrylic like box.
Yeah. It's in a container. Okay, that's good.
That it also ironically becomes a non-isolated system when you remove that. So yeah, second law of thermodynamics kind of goes away because it's only for closed systems.
You cook yourself a lot, bro.
If that's what you have to say to get a win.
Dude, this is not. I hope.
2 more.
Just believe it. It's cool, bro.
2 more.
Okay.
Icy Spin for 2 says, what's a catchier word than silly, Soli? I'll wait.
Do you want me to help you insult me? Is that what you need help, bro? Oh my god. Oh, that's funny. $200.
Seen a lot of stuff. Greatness Sports Training is the last super chat here, because Jack's definitely not going to send another one. And he sent $10. Thank you, Greatness Sports Training. He said, do Globers really just listen to the constant rabble nonsense that Clip and all Globies answer simple questions with? It's just gibbity goobly goop. Can't y'all see it through? Or can't y'all see through it? Slick talking salesman.
It's not. It's important data, but also the issue is flat earthers will try and take a a super simple concept and try and get it to its absolute most complex point, like gravity or atmospheric pressure. They'll take the most simple thing and try and bring it to its absolute most like quantum state. And then they'll start asking about like quarks and Casimir effect and all this stuff when none of that is relevant. That's why it seems like gobbledygook and like none of it makes sense, because it's super complicated stuff that generally you need a higher education for.
Strawman, mostly.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to shout out your channels real quick, Soli, go ahead. We'll start with you.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok, solipsisms. It's either solipsisms underscore or underscore solipsisms. I have almost 20K followers, so we're pushing that goal. I'm on YouTube, but it's nothing big. I'm trying to build it up. Outside of that, I'll probably hopefully be back on here. Planet Peterson, Globy McGlobeface, that Max guy that shouted me out earlier. I would love the opportunity to debate one of you guys publicly, preferably on here. And I would be willing to do it at any time. So reach out to me, man, if you guys can.
Yeah, email James. Go ahead, Clip. I know you're kind of also just getting it going, but tell us where to find you.
Very good. I'm on YouTube and TikTok. TikTok is clip XTRA99. Also, Max, I said I'd stop by for a little bit if you still want me to. Also, everybody, if you absolutely can, donate to local charities. It doesn't always have to be money. It can be time. They're in desperate need of it. Economy sucks, so do it if you can. It means something to somebody.
Good point.
Also, liking the video is free. If you didn't send a super chat, we thank everyone for being engaged in the chat. It's been really funny reading all those and talking to some of y'all. That is the lifeblood of a live debate, is watching the chat, seeing these guys doing the debate and then reacting to some of the questions people who are observing it had. That is like a super fun thing for everybody. Generally, respectful, thought-provoking questions. We always get some insults here and there because people are very polarized on certain topics. This is probably one of the more polarizing ones, I'd say, you know, on the internet. When you think about religion, science, politics, I mean, this is in the middle of science and religion, technically, it feels like. So it's like overlapping.
Yeah, I usually refer to it as a true dichotomy. Like it's really total polarity. You know what I mean?
There's back and forth all over on this one, and people always are like, why are y'all doing a debate on this? It was settled 600 years ago. But clearly people care. So thanks for watching. Last thing I'll say is get your tickets to DebateCon 8 if you haven't yet. We have a couple left. We do believe it's going to sell out in the next week-ish. Not sure exactly the total number left, but since we added that pre-game date with Jay Dyer the day before it starts, there is going to be some opportunity there if it does sell out, and those are still available. Get after it. And if you become a member on the channel, you can watch all those streams. And I have this little insert here I'll throw back up. We are on Rumble. Subscribe if you're on Rumble and you go over to YouTube to watch debates and other people, but you'd rather be on Rumble, you can check it out there, and it's probably going to be a spicier chat once it gets started. We do have the TikTok for the Zoomers. We got Yonaguni International Cuisine as a sponsor of DebateCon, I believe Main First Project as well. And the Roar Project, I have not got an ad for them. James, if you're watching and you want me to put that up next time, let me know. And then we have the Facebook page, guys. Appreciate everybody. W's in the chat for the debaters. And I don't know if I ended the poll, but I'll double check on that right now before we completely sign off.
Also, someone said I had nice hair. I don't know who it was. I appreciate you.
Okay, just ended the poll.
Mine used to look like that at once upon a time.
Yeah, mine's starting to go. Yeah.
You guys can check that out.
I didn't mean that like I know, but like I know how it feels. My bad.
No, that's why I said I appreciate it, because I'm good to see it.
Iron Zealot said James is watching like a totalitarian, but I have not confirmed if he puts mustard on his pretzels yet. Iron Zealot. We'll continue that debate between us another time. Yerba Mate Talks is doing an after show. He has his link in the chat there. I'm procrastinating so you guys can see that a little bit. And I don't think that it's as delayed as the last streaming key. So if I hit stop streaming, it's just going to go there. So I'm going to do the outro, give you guys time to chat for a second. And yeah, appreciate y'all. Have a good one.